Chapter 16. After burying the leader of the Black Demon stronghold, Qin Feiyang continued to pursue the black-clothed old man. The wolf's eyesight and sense of smell naturally surpassed that of humans. Especially when it came to blood, wolves were the most sensitive. The black-clothed old man was bleeding all the way. Wolf King smelled the smell of blood and followed the trail with Qin Feiyang. The Black Demon stronghold had been burned to ashes. However, the fire had not been extinguished and was rapidly spreading to the surrounding jungle. The area within a radius of 500 meters had turned into a sea of fire, illuminating half of the sky. All the traps had been burned to ashes in the raging fire. The black-clothed old man fled into this area. Because this place was filled with pungent smoke and scorching heat, not only could it quickly evaporate blood, but it could also disturb Wolf King's sense of smell. Soon, a man and a wolf also chased to this area. Qin Feiyang stood on a hillside, glancing at the sea of fire in front of him, and asked, "He went in?" Wolf King nodded. "This old thing is really smart." Qin Feiyang frowned. In this way, it would be difficult for Wolf King to continue tracking with his sense of smell. Woo-woo. Wolf King ran down the hillside, turned around and growled at Qin Feiyang a few times, meaning to let Qin Feiyang follow him. Qin Feiyang ran down and carefully entered the sea of fire under the lead of Wolf King. A terrifying heat wave swept over. In an instant, a man and a wolf were sweating profusely. Wolf King sniffed carefully and slowly moved forward. Half an hour later, the two walked out of the sea of fire and a river came into sight. This was the river that they had passed through when they came here. The black-clothed old man was also on the verge of death, sitting paralyzed beside the stone tablet, his face deathly pale. The dagger in his lower abdomen had been pulled out, but it was still bleeding. He also noticed Qin Feiyang and Wolf King, but he did not continue to escape, as if he was powerless to escape. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King smiled at each other and walked towards the black-clothed old man. The black-clothed old man looked at them and frowned. "I've already left. Why are you still chasing me?" Qin Feiyang said, "Because you are a killer of the Hayamo stronghold. Only by killing you can I feel at ease." The black-clothed old man said, "You saw the situation back then. As long as you let me go now, I guarantee that I'll leave Ironox Town forever and never appear before you again." "You're too dangerous. I don't believe your words." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Killing intent flashed in his eyes as he grabbed Chang Shui and rushed towards the black-clothed old man. Wolf King also leaped up, baring his sharp fangs as he pounced forward. "I can't even fool you like this. Qin Feiyang, you are really not simple. I will slowly settle this account with you in the future." The old man in black smiled coldly and plunged into the river. "Not good." Qin Feiyang shouted and quickly jumped into the river. Wolf King followed closely behind. But a moment later, Qin Feiyang emerged from the water with a gloomy look in his eyes. Not long after, Wolf King also emerged from the water and shook his head at Qin Feiyang. "This old guy is more difficult to deal with than I thought, but he can't have been lurking at the bottom of the river. Go ashore first." Qin Feiyang called out to Wolf King and swam towards the opposite shore. Next, a man and a wolf stood on the shore, closely monitoring the movements on the water. Whenever a bubble appeared, they would go down to check. However, even when the sun rose, the two of them did not see the black-clothed old man emerge from the water. There was no blood in the river either. Plus, the water was flowing, so Wolf King had no way to track him. "Oh." Wolf King looked at Qin Feiyang and growled, as if asking what to do. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. If this person had drowned, he would have definitely surfaced. But until now, this person had not appeared. So there was only one explanation. He had already escaped. But he was very puzzled. How did this person escape? Phew. He let out a long breath, looked down at Wolf King, and said with a smile, "If I meet him in the future, I will take care of him slowly." When he came, he only intended to teach the Black Demon stronghold a lesson. But now, except for the black-clothed old man, all of them were annihilated. He was still very satisfied with this result. Wolf King grinned, as if to say that this experience was really exciting. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, cleaned the Chang Shui, put it in the wooden sheath and then took out the Qingkuan bag. The treasures in this Qingkuan bag were the biggest harvest this time. However, When he checked the Qinkuan bag, he suddenly froze in place. Wolf King looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyang did not explain, squatted on the ground, and poured out all the gold coins in the Qinkuan bag. After carefully counting, there were only 100 gold coins. What's going on? How can an assassin organization that has been famous for many years only have so few gold coins? Qin Feiyang frowned. Wolf King was also very puzzled. Logically speaking, the treasures accumulated by the Black Demon stronghold should not only have a large number of gold coins, but also pills, weapons, martial arts, and so on. But there was nothing in this Qinkuan bag. So shabby, was it still an assassin organization? No. The black-clothed old man and the Black Demon stronghold's leader would not kill each other because of these 100 gold coins. There must be other treasures, but they were not put into this Qinkuan bag. Qin Feiyang said. White-eyed Wolf, let's go to the Black Demon stronghold to look again? Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang quickly put the 100 gold coins into the Qinkuan bag, tied it to his waist, and then crossed the river, dodged the sea of fire, and entered the ruins of the Black Demon stronghold to search carefully. But after searching for half an hour, he found nothing. There must be more treasures, but they are hidden in places we don't know, Qin Feiyang whispered. Suddenly, he took out the jade pendant given to him by the Black Demon stronghold's leader. After looking at it for a moment, he frowned. Could it be that this is a key? Chao Lang. He pondered for a moment, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised. Whether or not there were treasures, whether or not the jade pendant was a key, he had to be careful. A man and a wolf went back the way they came. When they were about to reach home, Qin Feiyang invited Wolf King again, but Wolf King refused. It also did not ask for gold coins. Thus the two went their separate ways. Uncle Yuan had already buried White Wolf and Lin Guo's corpses. Qin Feiyang went back to report that he was safe, and then went to Iron Ox Town without stopping. He naturally went to buy body-tempering pills. Although he only got 100 gold coins, there was no doubt that this was a huge treasure for Qin Feiyang. Enough for him to step into the martial master realm. And pills were not only available in the pill hall. There was another place that also had a lot of pills, and that was the Precious Treasure Pavilion. The Precious Treasure Pavilion was an independent force. Even the pill hall did not dare to offend them, because the pill hall needed the Precious Treasure Pavilion to sell their pills at a high price. Moreover, the things in the Precious Treasure Pavilion were definitely not fake. It was just that the price was higher than the market price. In the past 5 years, Qin Feiyang also went to the Precious Treasure Pavilion, but the high price of the marrow cleansing pill made him stop. Of course, he was also humiliated by the staff of the Precious Treasure Pavilion. At this moment, the sun was high up in the sky. Most of the people in the town were at home. Thus, there were very few people on the street. However, when everyone saw Qin Feiyang, they were all astonished. The news of Qin Feiyang rolling down the stone stairs of the pill hall had already spread throughout the Iron Ox Town. Everyone thought that he would need to rest for at least 1 or 2 months. But they did not expect that he would come back to the town in just 2 or 3 days. Moreover, the sickly look on his face was gone. His face was rosy, and his steps were steady and powerful. He looked stronger and more energetic than before. Could it be that after that serious injury, his illness has gotten better? Everyone felt strange. But Qin Feiyang's expression was calm, and he did not feel uncomfortable at all. He first went to a clothing store and bought a few sets of clothes. They were made of the most common cloth, linen. Although he had money now, there were too many things that he would need money for in the future. So he had to use it sparingly. Moreover, after 5 years of training, he did not care too much about his appearance. As long as it was clean and tidy. After leaving the store, he went straight to the Precious Treasure Pavilion. The Precious Treasure Pavilion was located in the south of the town. Because of the hot weather, there were very few people here. There were even some staff members who were lying on the counter dozing off. When Qin Feiyang walked into the Precious Treasure Pavilion, a few staff members immediately stood up to welcome him. But when they saw that it was Qin Feiyang, they retreated angrily. The disdain in their eyes was not concealed at all. Qin Feiyang had long been accustomed to this kind of attitude. He didn't care. He glanced around, and his eyes suddenly locked on a certain place. In front of the counter over there, a man and a woman stood. They seemed to be selecting something. The staff was smiling and entertaining them warmly. The two had their backs facing Qin Feiyang. But Qin Feiyang recognized the girl at a glance. Who was she? The weather is so hot. What are you doing out here? Qin Feiyang walked over with a smile. That's right. The girl was Lin Yi. It's brother Feiyang. There was a hint of joy in Lin Yi's eyes. She turned to look at Qin Feiyang and was about to run over. But the boy next to her suddenly grabbed her, leaned close to Lin Yi's ear, and whispered, "Don't forget Uncle Lin's words." Lin Yi's delicate body trembled. She lowered her head immediately, and her cheeks were a little pale. Qin Feiyang frowned, walked to Lin Yi and smiled. What's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable? He's fine. You don't have to worry about her. The boy stood in front of Yi and looked at Qin Feiyang disdainfully. Who are you? Qin Feiyang frowned. The boy said, You are not qualified to know who I am. This is not a place where you should be. Get out of here. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He was about to say something, but at this time, Lin Yi said, Qin Feiyang, you go. From now on, let's not meet again. But when she said this, her eyes were filled with a layer of mist. Qin Feiyang's body stiffened. He found it hard to believe that this girl, who did not hesitate to be scolded by her father to steal medicinal pills for him, would say such words to him at this moment. He looked at the boy and said in a deep voice, Get out of my way. The boy pursed his lips with a hint of sarcasm and said, If I don't let you go, what can you do? Not only did the staff of Treasure Pavilion not come up to persuade, but they all folded their hands, ready to watch a good show. Chapter 17. Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy. He stared at the young man with cold eyes. Okay, I will step aside. The young man stepped aside, crossed his arms in front of his chest and smirked. It was obvious. He didn't step aside because he was afraid of Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang wasn't in the mood to care so much now. He looked at Lin Yi and said, Look up at my eyes and tell me why? Lin Yi didn't look up, but tears burst out of her eyes. Qin Feiyang said, Did your father force you? Lin Yi still didn't say a word. Qin Feiyang yelled, I asked you to look at me. Didn't you hear me? The young man chuckled and said, You have told him clearly. Let him give up completely so that he won't continue to pester you in the future. You shut up. Qin Feiyang turned his head to look at the young man. His eyes were gloomy and terrifying. He had basically seen all the people in Iron Bull Town, but he had no impression of this young man in his mind. Is this person not from Iron Bull Town? But facing Qin Feiyang's terrifying eyes, the young man shrugged his shoulders with an indifferent attitude. It seemed that he didn't put Qin Feiyang in his eyes at all. Qin Feiyang. Lin Yi suddenly spoke, wiped away her tears and looked up at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at her. At the moment when their eyes met, Qin Feiyang's heart inexplicably hurt, because Lin Yi's eyes were completely different from before. In the past, her eyes were kind, dependent, and sentimental. But now, it was extremely cold. This kind of eyes would only appear when facing strangers. Lin Yi said, Qin Feiyang, listen clearly. From now on we will break all ties. Please don't pester me again. Qin Feiyang's body shook. He clenched his hands and looked at the girl in front of him deeply. Suddenly, he smiled. All right. In any case, I don't have a good impression of your Lin family. Sooner or later I will fall out with you. That's not right. They've already turned against each other. With you around, it's not easy for me to deal with it. Lin Yi, from now on, anyone from your Lin family better not provoke me. Otherwise, no matter who it is, I will not show mercy. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he turned around and walked towards a counter. He didn't know why, but after saying this he felt a lot more relaxed. However, the staff of Zhanbao Pavilion looked at Qin Feiyang with disdain. Don't provoke me? I won't be merciful? How dare you say such arrogant words? Do you really think you're some big shot? He was just a piece of trash who couldn't cultivate. Why was he so arrogant? Qin Feiyang, did I allow you to leave? The young man turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said indifferently. Lin Yi frowned and asked, Lin Bailey, what do you want to do? This is a matter between us men. Don't meddle. Lin Bailey lifted the corner of his mouth slightly. While walking towards Qin Feiyang, he said, I didn't intend to bother with you, but you are too arrogant. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Swoosh! He took a big stride forward and arrived behind Qin Feiyong. He stretched out his arm and slapped Qin Feiyong with his palm. Humph! Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. He turned around and punched Lin Bailey's palm. He immediately felt a terrifying power gushing out from Lin Bailey's palm, which could topple mountains and overturn seas. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood and was shaken back again and again. With a bang he hit a stone pillar. His face turned pale instantly. You are a martial master. Qin Feiyong looked up at Lin Bailey. His pupils contracted. Although you are arrogant, your eyesight is not bad. Yes, I am a 3-star martial master. I didn't use my full strength just now, because I don't want to kill you in front of E. I sincerely advise you to keep a low profile in the future. Lin Bailey put down his arm and said with a bright smile on his face. Lin Bailey, 3-star martial master. Qin Feiyong narrowed his eyes slightly. There was no 3-star martial master in the Lin family. Among the younger generation of Iron Ox Town, there was no 3-star martial master. It seemed that this person was not from Iron Ox Town. But this person's surname was Lin. He must have something to do with the Lin family. Lin Bailey glanced at Qin Feiyong, grabbed Lin Yi's hand, turned around and walked away. But before leaving, Lin Yi looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise. At the same time, the staff of Treasure Pavilion were also stunned. They couldn't believe it. On the one hand, they were shocked by Lin Bailey's strength. He looked 15 or 16 years old, but he was a 3-star martial master. On the other hand, Qin Feiyong's performance also gave them a huge shock. Wasn't he unable to cultivate? But why didn't he die after taking Lin Bailey's palm? Phew! Qin Feiyong breathed a sigh of relief, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, walked to a counter next to him, and said, I want 60 body-quenching pills and 30 chi-gathering pills. 60 body-quenching pills will cost 35 gold coins. 30 chi-gathering pills will cost 65 gold coins. A total of 100 gold coins. Do you have it? The staff came back to his senses and asked, So expensive? Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and poured out all the gold coins in his Qiankuan pouch. Originally, according to the market price, 60 body-quenching pills would only cost 30 gold coins. Chi-gathering pills were one level higher than body-quenching pills. The market price was 2 gold coins per pill. 30 chi-gathering pills would only cost 60 gold coins. A total of 90 gold coins. Yet Treasure Pavilion charged 10 gold coins more. These people really knew how to do business. The staff slightly counted and said in surprise, just right. He looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise, as if he didn't believe that Qin Feiyong could take out so many gold coins. He carefully counted again. As a result, it was still exactly 100 gold coins, not one more, not one less. Wait a moment, I'll go get the pills for you. After confirming that there was no mistake, the staff's attitude also began to change, and his words carried a trace of respect. Not long after, the staff came out with a jade box, placed it in front of Qin Feiyong, and said with a smile, You can count it? But Qin Feiyong didn't count it. He directly put it in his Qiankuan pouch, turned around and left. Because Zhenbao Pavilion would never lie. After Qin Feiyong left, several staff gathered together and began to discuss. The topic of discussion was nothing more than, why did Qin Feiyong have so many gold coins? Who was Lin Bailey? After buying the medicinal pills, Qin Feiyong didn't stay for a moment and left Iron Ox Town directly. Brother Feiyong, wait. As soon as he walked out of Iron Ox Town, Lin Yi's shout sounded behind him. She was still dressed in tight clothes. Her figure was graceful, and her skin was snow-white. However, her eye bags were a little red and swollen. Qin Feiyong stopped and turned to look at Lin Yi. His brows furrowed slightly. Lin Yi ran to him. Without saying a word, she took out a Qiankuan pouch from her arms and stuffed it into Qin Feiyong's hand. She said, Brother Feiyong, you must live well. Without waiting for Qin Feiyong to react, she turned around and ran into Iron Ox Town without looking back, disappearing at the end of the street. But as she turned around, 2 drops of tears fell on a blade of grass. What happened? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Qin Feiyong, you are really bold. Suddenly, another shout was heard. The Lin family's family master came quickly and stood opposite Qin Feiyang. His face was as calm as water. Qin Feiyang asked Family Master Lin, "What do you mean by this?" "What do I mean?" The Lin family master laughed angrily and said, "He stole gold coins and medicinal pills at home. Aren't you the one who instructed her?" And Qin Feiyang frowned. The Lin family master shouted, "Now that you have been caught red-handed, what else do you have to say?" "Caught red-handed?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and hurriedly checked the Qingkuan pouch that Lin Yi stuffed in his hand. He didn't know if he didn't look, but he was shocked when he saw it. There were at least 500 gold coins in the Qingkuan pouch. There were also healing pills, bone replenishing pills, and body tempering pills. There were dozens of them in total. Didn't she say that she would cut ties with me from now on? But why is she giving me so many gold coins and medicinal pills now? Qin Feiyang's heart was in a mess. He always felt that there seemed to be something fishy in this. "Why? Are you still reluctant to give it back to me? Qin Feiyang, you really disappoint me. Last time you said that you never asked Yi for half a copper coin. I believed it and treated you as a man. But I didn't expect you to be so hypocritical." The Lin family master sneered. Qin Feiyang frowned and was about to speak. But the Lin family master changed the thread of discussion and continued, "Now return the Qingkuan pouch to me and promise not to pester Yi in the future. I will let bygones be bygones, including the death of Lin Shi and Lin Yi. But if you don't agree, I will tell everyone in the town about this matter and let your reputation be ruined." Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. Suddenly, a smile crept up on his face. He said sarcastically, "You father and daughter really put in a lot of effort." "What do you mean?" The Lin family master frowned. "I have been wondering why you came looking for me as soon as Lin Yi gave me the Qingkuan pouch. But after hearing your words, I finally understand. In fact, this is a trap that you deliberately set for me. Lin Yi gave me the Qingkuan pouch. You caught me in the act and then used it to threaten me, right?" Qin Feiyang said. "I didn't expect you to be quite smart." The Lin family master laughed. Looking at the smug smile on the Lin family master's face, Qin Feiyang's heart suddenly burst with anger. "You can rest assured. From now on, I will not look for Lin Yi again. I don't care about the things in this Qingkuan pouch. But I advise you to leave some leeway for everything. Don't cut off your own escape route," Qin Feiyang said meaningfully. He threw the Qingkuan pouch at the feet of the Lin family master, then turned and strode away. "Why do I feel that he is a little different now?" The Lin family's patriarch looked at Qin Feiyang's back and couldn't help but frown slightly. He is now a 7-star martial artist. Of course he is different from before. A chuckle sounded. Lin Bailey walked out from behind a big tree and walked to the Lin family master with a faint smile. 7-star martial artist. The Lin family master was shocked, then smiled disdainfully and said, "He is only a 7-star martial artist at the age of 15. His future achievements will be limited. Young Master Lin, thank you for helping me with the plan. I believe that after this incident, Qin Feiyang will definitely not dare to pester Yi again." Lin Bailey said, "You are also a member of my Lin family. I naturally have to help you. But if Yi knows what we have done, she will be very sad and even hate us." The Lin family master smiled and said, "Aren't we doing this for her own good?" "That's true." Lin Bailey smiled and turned to walk toward the town. "Qin Feiyang, even if you can cultivate now, you are not qualified to touch my daughter." Chapter 18. Back home. Qin Feiyang scanned the surroundings and saw Uncle Yuan sitting in a shady spot by the lakeside fishing. He sorted out his emotions, walked over with a smile and asked, "Uncle Yuan, did you get anything?" Uncle Yuan smiled and said, "I don't know why. The fish always don't take the bait." Qin Feiyang said, "Then don't fish anymore. I will go and smoke the black bull that I brought back last night. It will be enough for us to eat for a while." "No need. You go and do your own thing." Uncle Yuan smiled and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. He asked, "Feiyang, do you have something on your mind?" "No." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Uncle Yuan said, "Silly boy, Uncle Yuan watched you grow up. Can you hide anything from Uncle Yuan?" Qin Feiyang scratched his head and briefly explained Lin Yi's matter. Uncle Yuan was silent for a moment and smiled. "Uncle Yuan will not intervene in this matter. You can do as you see fit. Uncle Yuan will only say that you can't just look at the surface. Qin Feiyong said. Uncle Yuan means that Lin Yi has difficulties? This Uncle Yuan doesn't know. You have to judge and discover it yourself. Yuan Bo said with a smile without even turning his head. Some things couldn't be explained directly. Qin Feiyong needed to figure it out slowly. Otherwise, he would develop a sense of dependence. Qin Feiyong pondered for a while and took a deep breath. No matter what he did, he needed to be strong. So instead of guessing here, it was better to make himself stronger as soon as possible. Qin Feiyong was about to go into seclusion, but when he turned around, he remembered that the small wooden building had been burned to ashes. He glanced at the ruins and wondered, Uncle Yuan, why don't you rebuild the wooden building? Uncle Yuan smiled and said, It's not necessary because you will leave Iron Bull Town soon. Leave? Qin Feiyong was taken aback. Uncle Yuan did not explain. He smiled and said, If you want to cultivate, you can find a place. Feiyong, your 15th birthday is in 2 days. What gift do you want? Qin Feiyong said, Whatever Uncle Yuan gives me, I'll take. Uncle Yuan smiled faintly and didn't say anything else. He looked at the floating on the lake, and his eyes flickered with an indescribable radiance. Qin Feiyong also sat at the side and whispered, This time, I want to become a 9-star martial artist in one go. He took out 20 body-tempering pills and swallowed them all in one go. The boundless energy was about to burst his physical body. In the evening, the news of the Black Demon stronghold being burned spread like wildfire in Iron Ox Town. However, other than shock, what people felt the most was joy. There were even people beating gongs and drums and setting off firecrackers to celebrate. The Black Demon stronghold was notorious in this area and everyone hated them. However, because the Black Demon stronghold was too strong, no one dared to touch them. Now that they were all burned up, it was simply too satisfying. Pill Hall. Ma Hongmei was leaning against a chair, recuperating with her eyes closed. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Ma Hongmei said and opened her eyes. The door opened, and a 15 or 16-year-old young man in black hurriedly ran to Ma Hongmei and whispered a few words. What? Is this news true? Ma Hongmei suddenly stood up, her face full of disbelief. The young man in black nodded and said, The news has spread like wildfire in the town. It is said that a few hunters went hunting near the Black Demon stronghold in the afternoon and found that everything was burned to ashes. Ma Hongmei asked, Where are the people of the Black Demon stronghold? The young man in black shook his head. How can this be? The Black Demon stronghold has 2 martial masters and there are traps everywhere. Even I don't dare to barge in, Ma Hongmei whispered. Her eyes flickered as she ordered, Bao Chuan, go to the Black Demon stronghold and check if there are any survivors. I will go now. After Bao Chuan finished speaking, he turned and left. No need to go. However, at this moment, a hoarse voice sounded. Following closely, an old man dressed in black staggered into the main hall. His old face was pale, and there was a knife wound on his lower abdomen that was oozing blood. Xiangwu. Ma Hongmei's body trembled and she hurriedly said, Bao Chuan, quickly support him. Bao Chuan ran up and supported the old man in black to sit on a chair. Ma Hongmei strode to the old man in black and took out a healing pill for Bao Chuan to consume. After the old man in black consumed the healing pill, Ma Hongmei asked anxiously, Xiangwu, what is going on? It's Qin Feiyong. He and a white wolf sneaked into the Black Demon stronghold in the middle of the night and killed everyone. The stronghold master also died in their hands, the old man in black said intermittently. What? How is that possible? Ma Hongmei and her master's expressions changed. It's absolutely true. The old man in black said word by word. His old eyes filled with hatred. Ma Hongmei was dumbfounded and in disbelief. Bao Chuan asked Shizhuan, do you think this Qin Feiyong is usually putting on an act? Ma Hongmei shook her head and said, impossible. In these 5 years, he came to the pill hall countless times to ask for the marrow cleansing pill. So I know him very well. He's definitely not pretending. There's only one explanation. His illness has been cured. He even dared to burn down the Black Demon stronghold. Master, this person must not be left alive. Bao Chuan's eyes flashed with killing intent. Ma Hongmei naturally knew this better than anyone else. As long as Qin Feiyong rose, He would make a move on her sooner or later. Take some men with you and bring me his head, Ma Hongmei ordered. Yes. Bao Chuan bowed and replied. Wait. The old man in black reached out his hand to stop her and smiled coldly. I have a way to get rid of Qin Feiyong without Elder Ma personally. What way? Ma Hongmei asked hurriedly. It was best if she didn't have to do it personally. The old man in black said. The Stronghold Lord has a son called Chao Lang. He entered the martial arts hall 2 years ago. I heard that he's now a 1-star martial master. Chao Lang. Ma Hongmei was stunned and said in surprise, I've heard of this person before. He's extremely talented and monstrous. I didn't expect him to be his son. The old man in black said, the martial arts hall has never liked the Black Demon stronghold. So, Chao Lang's identity has always been hidden. Ma Hongmei was enlightened and asked, you want Chao Lang to deal with him? Yes. If Chao Lang can kill Qin Feiyong, that's naturally the best. Then we won't have to do anything. But if Chao Lang is killed by Qin Feiyong, we'll tell the martial arts hall about Chao Lang's death. When the martial arts hall master gets angry, even if Qin Feiyong has 10 lives, it won't be enough to kill him. The old man in black laughed sinisterly. Good idea. This way, whether Chao Lang succeeds or not, it's good for us. Bao Chuan, go to the martial arts hall immediately to find Chao Lang and tell him about his father's death. As for how to say it, I don't think I need to teach you. Ma Hongmei laughed and said. Her words were filled with a bone-piercing coldness. Disciple understands. Bao Chuan sneered. Late at night, Qin Feiyong, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, suddenly rushed out a strong aura from his body. 8-star martial artist. As he opened his eyes, 2 brilliant rays of light shot out from them. Come eat something. Uncle Yuan's voice came into his ears. Qin Feiyong looked over. 5 meters away there was a bonfire burning. Uncle Yuan was sitting beside the bonfire, roasting 2 big fish. Gulp! The fragrance of the fish came to his nose, making him hungry. He got up, walked over and sat beside Uncle Yuan. He smiled and said, 2 big fish. Uncle Yuan, the harvest is not bad. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, as long as you have patience and can calm your mind, there will always be harvest. Patience. Calm your mind. Qin Feiyong pondered for a moment. As if enlightened, he nodded and said, Uncle Yuan, I will remember your words. Quickly eat. Uncle Yuan smiled and handed the 2 fish to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong grabbed the 2 fish and wolfed it down. Uncle Yuan said, eat slowly. Don't get choked by the fish bones. Qin Feiyong pondered over this sentence again. He raised his head and looked at Uncle Yuan strangely. He said, Uncle Yuan, why do I feel that every sentence you say now seems to be hiding some great truth? Life is like this. Many words that seem dull and tasteless or ordinary things can bring you a different kind of opportunity in the end. So in the future, no matter where you go, you have to listen more, see more, think more, but don't talk too much. Say what you should say and don't say what you shouldn't say. Uncle Yuan warned. Qin Feiyong nodded his head and deeply engraved these words in his mind. The 2 fish were quickly eaten up by Qin Feiyong. Throwing away the fish bones, Qin Feiyong said, Uncle Yuan, I will continue to cultivate. If you are tired, you can go to rest. Uncle Yuan nodded. Qin Feiyong, get out of here. But at this time, a murderous roar came from the entrance. Qin Feiyong frowned. He got up and looked in the direction of the entrance. Immediately, he saw a black shadow rushing toward this side. Uncle Yuan, I will go and have a look. He hurriedly left a sentence and ran toward the black shadow. Under a willow tree, the 2 met. At the same time, they stopped and looked at each other from 3 meters away. Who are you? Qin Feiyong was puzzled. On the opposite side, there was a teenager in black. He was about 15 or 16 years old. His height was different from ordinary people. He was 1.85 meters tall. He was burly and full of a valiant aura. But Qin Feiyong had no impression of this person. The teenager in black did not answer but asked, Did you burn the Black Demon stockade? Yes, I did. Qin Feiyong nodded. Give me your life. The teenager in black roared. He rushed forward and hit Qin Feiyong with his palm. In the palm, there was a surge of true qi. Martial master. Qin Feiyong's expression suddenly changed. He hastily took a step forward and narrowly dodged that palm strike. He shouted, "Can't you say it clearly before making a move? The hatred of killing my father is irreconcilable. Today, I swear I will not stop until I tear you into pieces." The teenager in black was furious. Like a mad beast, he madly rushed to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang hurriedly retreated. His mind was also running at high speed. Black Demon Stockade. The hatred of killing his father. Could this person? His eyes flashed and he said, "Are you called Chao Lang?" The teenager in black frowned and stopped. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "How do you know? It's really him." Chapter 19. But he had some doubts. Wasn't this person in the martial arts hall? How could he receive the news so quickly? Chao Lang stared at Qin Feiyang and said in a low voice, "My father couldn't have told you this. Did you torture him before he died?" Torture? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He shook his head and said, "I set the Black Demon Stockade on fire, and I killed the others. But your father's death had nothing to do with me. This thing can prove it." After that, he took out the jade pendant. Chao Lang's eyes widened. He said in surprise, "Why is it in your hands?" Qin Feiyang threw the jade pendant to him and said, "Your father asked me to give it to you before he died." Chao Lang caught it in his hand. He lowered his head and stared at the jade pendant. There was a trace of pain in his eyes. A moment later, he put away the jade pendant and looked up at Qin Feiyang. He said, "This jade pendant is my family's heirloom. Although it's not a treasure, it means a lot to me. My father wouldn't give it to others easily. Since he gave it to you, it means that his death really has nothing to do with you." Qin Feiyang was relieved. Chao Lang bent down and pleaded, "You must know how my father died. Please tell me." Qin Feiyang said, "He was killed by a black-clothed old man." A black-clothed old man? Chao Lang frowned. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something and said in surprise, "Is this man a martial master?" Qin Feiyang nodded. "How could it be him?" Chao Lang's body shook and his face turned pale. Qin Feiyang asked, "Do you know him?" "Of course I do. His name is Xiang Wu, a one-star martial master. He joined the Black Demon Stockade 3 years ago. My father always regarded him as his best friend. But I didn't expect that he would kill my father. It was also him who asked Ma Hongmei's disciple Bao Chuan to go to the martial arts hall and tell me that it was you who killed my father." Chao Lang clenched his fists. His eyes flashed with a terrifying light. Qin Feiyang's eyes were also filled with killing intent. Whether it was Xiang Wu or Ma Hongmei, they both deserved to die. Chao Lang suddenly said, "Qin Feiyang, how about we join forces to kill Xiang Wu?" "That's what I was thinking." Qin Feiyang smiled. It could be said that the two of them were in agreement. Qin Feiyang ran back and informed Uncle Yuan before sprinting towards Iron Ox Town with Chao Lang. Along the way, the two of them had a discussion. Half an hour later, the two of them walked out of the forest and stood on top of a large rock. They gazed at Iron Ox Town in the dark night, and their eyes emitted an intense cold light. "Let's follow the plan." "Oh right, do you have any weapons?" Chao Lang asked. "I used to have a dagger, but I accidentally lost it." Qin Feiyang smiled. Chao Lang thought for a moment and took out a pitch-black dagger from his Chinkuan bag. He handed it to Qin Feiyang and said, "This dagger is made of high-quality black iron. It can break through the defense of a 2-star martial master. Later you can use it to sneak attack Xiang Wu." Qin Feiyang nodded and grasped it in his hand. Chao Lang then turned around and ran towards the town without looking back. "Is that jade pendant really just a family heirloom?" Qin Feiyang looked at the figure gradually disappearing into the night. His eyes flickered. Xiang Wu told Chao Lang about him burning the Black Demon stronghold. He should also tell Chao Lang about him getting the treasure of the Black Demon stronghold. But from the beginning to the end, Chao Lang didn't even mention this treasure. Obviously, this didn't make sense. "Seems that I have to hold back." Qin Feiyang glanced around, turned around and ran into the forest behind him. After a while, he found a pig and finished it off cleanly and neatly. But not for food. He needed the pig's blood. Clang! He grabbed the dagger and peeled off a piece of fur from the pig's body. Then he quickly made a blood bag with this piece of fur and put it on his chest. Everything was ready. Qin Feiyang returned to the big stone again and hid the Qingkuan bag under a small tree. Then, he hid in a patch of weeds and waited for Chao Lang to lure Xiangwu over. Time passed breath by breath. About an hour passed. A burst of messy footsteps came from afar and came to the side of the big stone. Qin Feiyang gently pushed aside the weeds in front of him and saw Chao Lang and Xiangwu standing 3 meters away. But now there was no way to sneak attack. Because Chao Lang's back was facing Qin Feiyang, and Xiangwu was standing opposite Chao Lang. If Qin Feiyang appeared, he would enter Xiangwu's line of sight. So he had to wait for the right time. Xiangwu asked Lang, why did you call me out? What do you want to say? Shoo. Chao Lang made a shushing gesture and scanned the surroundings with vigilance. He walked behind Xiangwu and pretended to check for any movements. In fact, he was changing his position to create a good opportunity for Qin Feiyang to sneak attack. Sure enough, Xiangwu also turned around and looked at Chao Lang suspiciously. In this way, now Xiangwu's back was facing Qin Feiyang. Seeing that his goal had been achieved, Chao Lang did not continue to pretend. He faced Xiangwu and said with a smile, Uncle Xiang, I have killed Qin Feiyang. So fast? Xiangwu was surprised. Chao Lang nodded. Xiangwu hurriedly asked, where is the Qingkuan bag? It contains the stockade savings for many years. It must not be lost. Chao Lang said with a smile, the Qingkuan bag is in my arms. It can't be lost. A cold light flashed through Xiangwu's eyes. He said with a smile, then I'm relieved. Let me see if the number is right. Okay. Chao Lang readily agreed. He took out a Qingkuan bag from his arms and handed it over with a smile. No matter how talented you are, you won't live long if you're not smart. When I get the Qingkuan bag, I'll send you down to reunite with your father. Xiangwu sneered secretly and reached out to grab the Qingkuan bag. Whoosh! At this moment, Qin Feiyang stomped his foot and jumped out of the weeds like lightning. The dagger in his hand flashed coldly and stabbed into Xiangwu's back. Immediately, Xiangwu screamed. The smile on Chao Lang's face disappeared in an instant and was replaced by killing intent. His left hand shot out. Genuine qi gushed out. He slapped Xiangwu's chest with all his strength. Before he could figure out who attacked him, he was attacked by Chao Lang. Xiangwu was completely stunned. What was going on? Qin Feiyang pulled out the dagger and kicked him again. Thump! Xiangwu fell flat on his face and fell to the ground. Old thing, you didn't expect that you would die in my hands after all. Qin Feiyang walked to Chao Lang's side and said to Xiangwu with a faint smile. How could it be you? Chao Lang, didn't you say that you have killed Qin Feiyang? Why is he still alive? And why did you try to kill me? Xiangwu was shocked and angry. Because you deserved to die. Chao Lang put away the Qingkuan bag and looked at Xiangwu with murderous intent. As soon as he finished speaking, with a flash of killing intent in his eyes, he slapped Qin Feiyang's chest. Genuine qi gushed out and Qin Feiyang flew out on the spot and smashed into a patch of grass. At the same time, the dark dagger in his hand flew out and hit the big stone next to him, bursting out dazzling sparks. His chest was bleeding profusely. In an instant, his whole body seemed to be bathed in blood. The smell of blood was pungent. Qin Feiyang howled in pain and struggled to support half of his body. He stared at Chao Lang angrily and asked why. Although you didn't personally kill my father, if you hadn't gone to burn down the Black Demon stronghold, he wouldn't have died. In the end, all of this is your fault. Thus you should be killed just like Xiangwu. Chao Lang smiled coldly. You are so cruel. Qin Feiyang's eyes were full of resentment. After saying that, he fell to the ground and his breath and heartbeat quickly dissipated. Looking at Qin Feiyang lying in a pool of blood, Xiangwu shuddered and hurriedly said, Langer, don't listen to Qin Feiyang's nonsense. He is trying to sow discord between us and let us kill each other. Qin Feiyang's words are more credible than yours. How dare you plot against my father? Go to hell. Chao Lang was full of anger. With a loud roar, he stomped on Xiangwu's head. The scene was extremely bloody. Death is not enough for you to repay this blood debt. You stay here and wait for the nearby beasts to smell the blood and come to tear you apart. In the end, there won't be any bones left. Chao Lang smiled cruelly. He tore off Xiang Wu's Qiankuan bag and walked to Qin Feiyang's side. Where's the Qiankuan bag? On the way, I clearly saw a Qiankuan bag tied to his waist. It might have fallen somewhere. Forget it, I don't think he has anything valuable. I'd better hurry to the Black Demon stockade. The treasure that my father left for me must not fall into the hands of others. Chao Lang muttered to himself. He picked up the dark dagger and quickly disappeared into the forest. More than 10 breaths passed. Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes. 2 shocking cold lights burst out of his eyes. Chapter 20. Fortunately, I was able to take precautions. Qin Feiyang reached into his arms and took out the blood bag. The blood bag had been broken. Most of the blood on his body was that of the pig. However, although he was prepared in advance, Chao Lang's palm contained genuine qi. Not only did it break his sternum, but it also almost killed him. Even if it wasn't for his extraordinary perseverance, he would have died now. I'd like to see who will die in the end. Qin Feiyang turned over and got up. Enduring the severe pain, he staggered to the small tree, grabbed the Qiankuan bag, took out a healing pill and stuffed it into his mouth. This time Chao Lang really pissed him off. After putting away the Qiankuan bag, he sat on the ground with his back against the trunk and pondered. Just now, Chao Lang had said clearly to himself that the Black Demon stronghold was indeed hiding other treasures. And Chao Lang had already gone to get them. This treasure, no matter what, he had to get it. But Chao Lang was a 1-star martial master and his speed was far from his. If he chased after him now, he would definitely not be able to catch up. What's more, he was seriously injured now. Even if he caught up, he would not be Chao Lang's opponent. So, instead of wasting energy to chase after him, it was better to wait for him. After recuperating for 4 hours, Qin Feiyang's injuries had recovered by quite a bit. The show has just begun. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly. He got up and glanced around, then walked in the direction of the town. A moment later, he stopped on a winding path with woods on both sides. In the woods on the path, there were a lot of dead branches and rotten leaves piled up. This was the only way to enter the town. It's so late. No one should have passed by. Qin Feiyang muttered. He took out the Chang Shui from the Qiankuan bag and buried his head in digging a hole. He was going to set a fatal trap here. Although with his current strength he could punch a deep hole, his strength could not be controlled and would cause a large area of damage. In this way it would be easy to be noticed. Half an hour later, Qin Feiyang was sweating profusely. Finally, he managed to dig a 2-meter deep pit with a 2-meter wide diameter. Next, he climbed to the surface again and moved all the soil he had dug up to the side of the forest. In addition, he found a lot of dead branches and rotten leaves from the forest to cover the hole and cover up the traces. Then, he hid in the pit and finished his final cover-up. While waiting, he healed his wounds. If it was during the day, as long as one was cautious enough, they would still be able to find some clues. But it was late at night. In addition, the lush foliage of the trees on both sides blocked the moonlight. Unless one knew in advance, no one would be spared. Time passed by slowly. Suddenly, the sound of running came into Qin Feiyang's ears. So fast, Qin Feiyang's spirits were lifted. He hurriedly pulled out the Chang Shui and held his breath. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Crack! Ah! The withered branches and rotten leaves above the pit suddenly collapsed. Accompanied by a scream, a black shadow fell down. The first thing Qin Feiyang did was to raise pale snow. The moment the black shadow fell, he fiercely stabbed it. Ah! A cry of agony could be heard. No, this is not Chao Lang's voice. But this voice is a little familiar. Qin Feiyang realized that he might have killed the wrong person. He took out a match, blew it and took a closer look. He was immediately dumbfounded. This person was really not Chao Lang. But it was someone he was very familiar with. Ma Hongmei's disciple Bao Chuan. He actually killed Bao Chuan by accident? Qin Feiyang scratched his head, still somewhat unable to accept this fact. The knife just now had pierced Bao Chuan's heart. So he was already dead. His death was really unjust. He ran out in the middle of the night. In fact, he was ordered by Ma Hongmei to investigate whether Qin Feiyang had really been killed by Chao Lang. But he did not expect to die under Qin Feiyang's knife just as he left the town. Poor child, consider yourself unlucky. Qin Feiyang grinned, climbed to the ground, found some withered branches and rotten leaves, and hid in the pit to search Bao Chuan's body. As Ma Hongmei's disciple, Bao Chuan must have a lot of medicinal pills on him. But, after searching all over his body, Qin Feiyang only found 2 healing pills and 2 body-refining pills. Why is he poorer than me? Qin Feiyang frowned. But after thinking about it carefully, he was relieved. Once, he heard Lin Yi mention it. On the surface, although Bao Chuan was Ma Hongmei's disciple, he was not an alchemist. At most, he was just a handyman. Even in Ma Hongmei's eyes, Bao Chuan was just a very obedient dog. Naturally, he would not have many medicinal pills on him. After putting away the 4 medicinal pills, Qin Feiyang continued to wait. About 2 hours passed. Another sound of footsteps came from afar and came into Qin Feiyang's ears. It should be him this time. Qin Feiyang stood up straight and calmed down. The Chang Shui in his hand shone with cold light. The treasure left by the Black Demon Stronghold's master to Chao Lang must be all the savings accumulated by the Black Demon Stronghold over the years. As long as he could get it, Qin Feiyang would no longer have to worry about gold coins in a short time. From this point, it could be seen that the Black Demon Stronghold's master indeed had the idea of monopolizing this treasure. It was just that Xiang Wu was not easy to deal with. He had already seen through the Black Demon Stronghold's master's intention. He made the first move so that the Black Demon Stronghold would not have a chance to enjoy it. His footsteps were neither fast nor slow, steady and powerful. As the distance got closer, Qin Feiyang became more nervous. He was sweating all over. After all, Chao Lang was a 1-star martial master, 2 small realms higher than him. If he didn't kill him, he would definitely die in the end. Moreover, this was also the first time he faced a martial master powerhouse alone. Calm down. I must kill him in one blow. Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth and held the Chang Shui tightly with his big hand. Gotcha! The dead branches and rotten leaves above suddenly collapsed. Immediately after, a burly figure fell down. That's right. It's Chao Lang. Qin Feiyang's eyes burst with a terrifying murderous light. He raised his arm abruptly and poked Chao Lang's lower abdomen without holding back. Puff! The Chang Shui was invincible. It easily broke through the flesh and blood and entered Chao Lang's body. Ah! Chao Lang screamed. But he wasn't as flustered as Bao Chuan before. He was very calm. His big hand reached out and grabbed Qin Feiyang's wrist. He used all his strength to forcibly pull the Chang Shui out of his body. Then, with a bang, he smashed onto Bao Chuan's body. That moment, he was ready to get up and fight back. But Qin Feiyang was faster. At the same time when Chao Lang smashed onto Bao Chuan's body, he grabbed the Chang Shui and fiercely pounced on him like a vicious wolf. He stabbed Chao Lang's throat. Blood spurted out like a fountain and sprayed all over Qin Feiyang's face. How could it be you? Chao Lang finally saw Qin Feiyang clearly. His face was full of disbelief. This is the price for plotting against me. Qin Feiyang smiled sinisterly. Like the reincarnation of the god of death, he waved the Chang Shui hard and stabbed it into Chao Lang's heart. Chao Lang died on the spot. Blood flowed all over the ground. It's finally over. Qin Feiyang sat on the side powerlessly. He looked at the dead Chao Lang and gasped for breath. Finally, he let out a long breath and began to search Chao Lang's body. He only found a Qingkuan bag. But when he checked the Qingkuan bag, he was immediately overjoyed. Chapter 21. By the lake. Uncle Yuan leaned against the willow tree, resting with his eyes closed. Next to him a bonfire was burning. Qin Feiyang ran all the way back. Seeing that Uncle Yuan was resting, he put down the Chang Shui and Qingkuan bag and entered the lake quietly to wash the blood on his body. What a strong smell of blood. Since the poison of the evil spirit pill was removed, this child has not stopped for a day. He is also getting stronger day by day. Uncle Yuan opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang in the lake, muttering to himself. There was a trace of a smile in his eyes. He closed his eyes again and continued to rest. Awesome! Qin Feiyang floated to the surface. The cool lake water penetrated all the cells in his body. He felt refreshed and comfortable. He quickly went ashore, changed into clean clothes, then sat by the bonfire and began to count the spoils of war this time. Gold coins 3,000. Healing elixirs 50. Bone extending elixirs 50. Body tempering elixirs 300. Chi gathering elixirs 80. All kinds of weapons such as sabers, spears, swords, halberds, a total of more than 30. This was all the savings of the Black Demon stronghold over the years. Looking at the treasures in front of him, Qin Feiyang was elated. If it was 5 years ago, he would definitely not take it seriously. But today was different. To the current him, this pile of treasures was simply a treasure trove. Phew! He took a few deep breaths, calmed down his agitated mood, put all the treasures into the Chenkuan bag, then sat cross-legged and began to break through to 9-star martial artist. Time flew. Early morning. The air was exceptionally fresh. The weather was also exceptionally cool. Early in the morning, some hunters walked out of Iron Ox Town and went deep into the mountains to hunt. The pit was the only way to go. Therefore, Chao Lang and Bao Chuan were soon discovered and the news quickly spread in Iron Ox Town. There was no suspense. It caused a huge uproar. In less than a few hundred breaths, a sea of people gathered around the pit. Get out of the way. There was a cold shout. The crowd parted. Ma Hongmei walked to the pit and looked at Bao Chuan inside with a gloomy face. After a while, another middle-aged man came to the pit. He wore a purple robe, his black hair draped over his shoulders, and his spirited eyes emitted strands of astonishing cold light. This person was the martial arts hall master. Even the hall master had come personally. It was evident that Chao Lang was highly regarded in the martial arts hall. Ma Hongmei, how do you explain this? The martial arts hall master raised his head and looked at Ma Hongmei with an overbearing gaze. What do you mean? Ma Hongmei frowned. The martial arts hall master said, just now I asked the guards, and they told me that your disciple Bao Chuan went to the martial arts hall to look for Chao Lang. Now they died together. Do you dare to say that this has nothing to do with you? Ma Hongmei's pupils contracted. She lowered her head and said nothing. Elder Ma, Palace Master, we've discovered another corpse next to the rock over there. At this moment, a few hunters ran over, panting. The martial arts hall master asked, who is it? They seem to be from the Black Demon stronghold. One of them said anxiously. Ma Hongmei's body trembled, and she hurriedly ran towards the big rock. The martial arts hall master's eyes flickered as he quickly followed. Xiangwu. When she arrived beside the big rock and saw the corpse, Ma Hongmei couldn't help but change her expression. The martial arts hall master carefully sized up the corpse and frowned slightly. He said, the knife wound on his back is exactly the same as the knife wound on Chao Lang and Bao Chuan's chest. It should be caused by a dagger. Could it be him? Impossible. Chao Lang said it himself last night that he had killed him. Ma Hongmei muttered to herself, and her eyes were filled with shock. Who are you talking about? The martial arts hall master looked at Ma Hongmei and asked. Ma Hongmei said, Qin Feiyang. The martial arts hall master said, tell me the details. After Ma Hongmei finished, the martial arts hall master muttered to himself and muttered. He dared to set fire to the Black Demon stronghold. This kid is definitely not as simple as he looks. It seems that I have to confirm whether he is dead or not. Whoosh! He took a step into the forest and quickly disappeared. After hesitating for a moment, Ma Hongmei followed him. Qin Feiyang was a thorn in her heart. If she didn't remove it, she wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Therefore, she had to verify it herself. At the same time, in the Lin clan's meeting hall, Lin Bailey held a teacup and asked, Uncle Lin, how do you think Chao Lang, Bao Chuan, and Xiangwu died? Let's not talk about Bao Chuan first because he is only a 9-star martial artist. Chao Lang and Xiangwu are both 1-star martial artists. There are less than 10 people in the Iron Ox Town who have the ability to kill them. However, I don't dare to make a conclusion as to who it is. The head of the Lin family frowned, unable to figure out what was going on. Lin Bailey smiled faintly and said, although the Iron Ox Town is just a small town, there are undercurrents surging. It is not peaceful at all. No. The Lin clan master shook his head and said, the Iron Ox Town has always been peaceful these years. However, things have happened one after another in the past few days. Could it be related to Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang? Lin Baili was slightly taken aback, and a thoughtful look appeared in his eyes. Da-da. Suddenly, along with the sound of footsteps, an old man in white strode into the hall. He cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, young Master Bailey." Lin Bailey smiled and said, "Housekeeper Lin, don't be so polite." The old man in white was called Lin Yong. He was the housekeeper of the Lin clan and also the confidant of the Lin clan master. "Have you found them?" the Lin clan master asked. Lin Yong shook his head and said, "I have searched all the places nearby, but I couldn't find Lin Gua and Lin Gu. No one has seen them in the past 2 days. I suspect that they may have died under the claws of the fierce beasts." "Impossible. With their strength, the fierce beasts in this area can't hurt them. Unless they went to the Iron Ox Ridge. But the Iron Ox Ridge is a forbidden area in this area. It is famous for its ferocity. They definitely wouldn't dare to break in. Go and check again. You must find out," the Lin clan master said. "Yes." Lin Yong respectfully responded and quickly turned around and left. What happened these past few days? The Lin clan master was extremely angry. He turned to look at Lin Bailey and asked, "Bailey, when do you plan to go back?" Lin Bailey said, "Tomorrow is Yi's 15th birthday. I will take her back after she has a happy birthday." The Lin clan master smiled and said, "After we go back, I will have to trouble you to take care of Yi." "Of course." Lin Bailey smiled, but his eyes flashed with a light of thinking. By the lake, Uncle Yuan was still the same, sitting in the shade and fishing. Qin Feiyang, on the other hand, had been cultivating. Suddenly, Uncle Yuan looked at the entrance. His eyes flashed and he muttered, "I didn't catch any fish. Instead, I attracted 2 big fish." He put down the fishing rod, got up and walked to Qin Feiyang. He smiled and said, "Feiyang, let's change places first." "Change places?" Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and looked puzzled. Uncle Yuan didn't explain. He grabbed Qin Feiyang and rose into the air, turning into a stream of light and swept into the mountains behind. Flying in the air? Qin Feiyang was dumbstruck as he looked at the mountains, rivers, and earth that were constantly moving backwards. Uncle Yuan could actually fly? Whoosh! In the end, Uncle Yuan took Qin Feiyang and landed on a mountain top. "You continue to cultivate," Uncle Yuan exhorted before turning around and returning. He stood on the branch of a large tree and looked down at the lake below. At this moment, the martial arts hall master and Ma Hongmei were standing by the lake, looking around. "Seems that they are really dead." Seeing that there was no one around, Ma Hongmei smiled and said, "They are not dead." The martial arts hall master shook his head. "What?" The smile on Ma Hongmei's face froze. The martial arts hall master looked at the bonfire and strode to the willow tree. He grabbed the fishing rod and pulled it up. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. "Do you see? The bait is still there. The bonfire is not completely extinguished. Beside it, there are 2 different footprints. It is obvious that they left not long ago. Seems that it is as you guessed. The one who killed Chao Lang and the other 2 is Qin Feiyang," the martial arts hall master said. Ma Hongmei looked at them one by one, and her face gradually darkened. "Ma Hongmei, tomorrow is the day you die." A cold light flashed in Uncle Yuan's eyes. He turned and flew across the sky and landed on the mountain top. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was still in a daze, he could not help but shake his head and laugh. He said, "Hurry up and cultivate. I will tell you the truth tomorrow." "Will you really tell me?" Qin Feiyang was doubtful. Uncle Yuan said, "Yes, but the premise is that you have to break through the martial artist extreme realm before dawn tomorrow." "Martial artist extreme realm?" Qin Feiyang's body shook. Uncle Yuan asked, "Why? Are you not confident?" Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and said, "The Great Qin Empire has tens of thousands of martial artists, and there are even more monstrous geniuses. However, since ancient times, there has only been one person who has broken through the martial artist's limit. It's normal for me to not have confidence." Uncle Yuan said, "Every martial artist is eager to break through the martial artist extreme realm. Don't you want to?" "Of course, but," when Qin Feiyang said this, the memories sealed in the depths of his soul automatically emerged. When he was 7 years old, he became a 9-star martial artist. He thought that with his extraordinary aptitude and talent, he would definitely be able to break through the martial artist extreme realm. But the result? No matter how hard he tried, no matter what method he used, he did not succeed in the end. Uncle Yuan said, Feiyang, since someone in the Great Qin Empire did it, you have to believe that you can do it too. Don't be a coward. Who said that I am a coward? Qin Feiyang straightened his back. The fighting spirit and competitiveness hidden in his heart were completely stimulated. He said, Uncle Yuan, don't worry. I will work hard. Subsequently, he sat cross-legged and continued to strive to become a 9-star martial artist. Chapter 22. Uncle Yuan stood at the top of the mountain to protect Qin Feiyang. The hall master of the martial arts hall and Ma Hongmei returned to the Iron Bull town but did not take any action. The Iron Bull town was surrounded by mountains. The land within 100 miles was barren. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack to find two people who were deliberately hiding. Therefore, instead of wasting their energy to search, they might as well wait quietly. They believed that Qin Feiyang would definitely appear. Furthermore, it would not be for long. Noon. Qin Feiyang's body shook. His aura instantly rose to that of a 9-star martial artist. Shush! He suddenly stood up and punched the ground with all his might. Bang! Accompanied by a deafening sound, a huge and deep pit appeared on the ground. Strength of 9 bears. Qin Feiyang was very excited. For days ago, he was still a useless person who did not even have the strength to truss a chicken. 4 days later, he actually had the strength of 9 bears. A total of 4,500 kilograms of strength. If news of this speed were to spread, he did not know how many jaws would drop. However, Qin Feiyang also knew that the reason why he could be so fast was that he still had his foundation. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, Feiyang, it's not too late to be happy after you break through the martial artist's extreme realm. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. After calming down, he asked, Uncle Yuan, I have already tried the ordinary methods. It definitely won't work. Do you have any better methods? Uncle Yuan said, It is not that difficult to break through the martial artist's extreme realm. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. Could it be that Uncle Yuan really had a way? Be it humans or beasts, apart from the potential that they already have, there is still a hidden door of potential. Even ordinary people have them. The only difference is whether or not you can open this door of potential. According to my current understanding, there are a total of 10 levels to the door of potential. As for whether there are more, I don't know. The martial artist's extreme realm is the first level. Uncle Yuan said. Qin Feiyang nodded. This knowledge was recorded in the ancient books in the capital. Therefore, he knew some of it. He asked, Has anyone opened the 10th level of the door of potential? Yes, he is your ancestor, the first emperor who founded the Great Qin Empire. Uncle Yuan said. So it was him. Qin Feiyang mumbled. The one and only person who had broken through the extreme martial artist realm that he had mentioned was his ancestor. He didn't know what his ancestor looked like or how strong he was. However, according to the ancient records, the ancestor was the #1 genius of his generation. No one could compete with him, and he single-handedly created a great country that ruled over all directions. However, for some reason, after the Great Qin Empire stabilized, the ancestor mysteriously disappeared. At that time, the subordinates and descendants of the ancestor searched all over the continent, but there was no news. It became an eternal mystery. Qin Feiyang shook his head and scattered these distracting thoughts. He asked, Uncle Yuan, how many levels did you open? Me? I'm keeping it a secret for now. You'll know in the future. Yuan Bo smiled mysteriously. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. There are 10 levels of the door of potential, and each level is more difficult than the previous. Many people spend their entire lives and desperately squeeze out their potential, but they can only open 1 or 2 levels at most. Those who can open 3 or 4 levels are very rare. As for the 5th level and above, there isn't anyone in the entire Great Qin Empire. Yuan Bo smiled. After talking for so long, you still haven't gotten to the point. Qin Feiyang mumbled unhappily. He didn't want to continue being long-winded and directly asked, What exactly do I have to do to open the door of potential? Follow me to a place. Yuan Bo waved his hand and Qin Feiyang immediately felt a terrifying force shrouding over. His vision blurred. At the next moment, He appeared in an unfamiliar place. He looked around and realized that this was actually a secret room. It was about 10 feet long and was squarish. However, after searching for a long time, Qin Feiyong still couldn't find the door to enter. However, in front of the secret room, there was a rectangular altar with a pitch-black metal box on it. It emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. Yuanbo, how did we get in? Qin Feiyong was puzzled. Let's not talk about this first. Let me show you something first. Uncle Yuan brought Qin Feiyong to the front of the altar and stared at the metal box without blinking. Qin Feiyong could clearly see that Yuanbo's eyes were rapidly changing, containing happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. What is this thing? He frowned. Yuanbo suddenly said, Feiyong, only you can open this metal box. Drip a drop of blood on it. Only I can open it? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Countless questions suddenly crawled up in his mind. But he didn't ask much. Following the words, he bit his finger and squeezed out a drop of blood and dripped it on the metal box. A magical scene appeared. The blood actually merged with the metal box. Moreover, with a click, the metal box automatically opened. A medicinal fragrance immediately wafted out from the metal box. Could it be some kind of divine pill? Qin Feiyong greedily inhaled the medicinal fragrance and stared at the gap of the metal box. Gradually, a medicinal pill entered his sight. Next to the medicinal pill there was an iron book. But the iron book was directly ignored by Qin Feiyong. His eyes were firmly locked on that medicinal pill. That medicinal pill was only the size of a finger. It was blood-red and emitted a dazzling treasure light. Moreover, there was also a blood-red divine dragon hovering above the medicinal pill. Dragon-shaped Dan Qi. Only the legendary divine pill can give birth to such a phenomenon. Yuanbo, this medicinal pill, could it really be a divine pill? Qin Feiyong asked. His hands were tightly clenched together. The blood in his body was boiling and his mouth was dry. Whether it is a divine pill or not, I don't know. I only know that after taking it, you can break through the martial artist's extreme realm and open the first level of the door of potential. Of course the process is a bit painful. Can you bear it? Yuanbo said. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded without hesitation. Then let's begin. Yuanbo took out the medicinal pill and handed it to Qin Feiyong. Phew. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath, grabbed the medicinal pill and directly stuffed it into his mouth. The medicinal pill instantly melted. It turned into a blood-red energy that surged to his limbs and bones. Immediately, Qin Feiyong lay on the ground and screamed in pain. He felt that the blood-red energy was like a sharp blade, shuttling in his flesh and blood as if preparing to chop his body into pieces. Very soon, strands of blood gushed out from the pores all over his body. In an instant, he became a bloody man. Yuanbo, you didn't say that it would be so painful. Qin Feiyong roared hysterically. His facial features were distorted and his face was hideous. Severe pain. It was even more intense than heart-tearing and lung-tearing. It was as if there were countless insects crazily gnawing on his flesh and blood. At this moment, he finally tasted the feeling of living a life worse than death. If you can't bear it, you will die. If you can bear it, you will be reborn. Yuanbo said in a low voice. His face was unprecedentedly serious. I don't want to die. In the past 5 years, I have suffered humiliation. Every time I feel despair, it will hit me into the abyss, but I have never given up. It's not easy to endure until now. How can I lose here? In my dictionary, Qin Feiyong will never appear the word lose. Qin Feiyong roared and sat cross-legged. No matter how painful it was, he gritted his teeth and endured it. Perseverance, fighting spirit. These are the necessary qualities of a strong person. Feiyong, you already have it. As long as you can maintain this state of mind, your future achievements will definitely be extraordinary. Yuanbo murmured and a smile crept up on his face. However, Qin Feiyong was in danger at this moment. An intense pain assaulted every nerve in his body. He had reached his limit. Consciousness. It was being swallowed by the darkness bit by bit. He was powerless to stop it. Death was approaching step by step. Qin Feiyong had a very real feeling that he had come to the gate of hell. One more step forward and it was hell. Boom! All of a sudden, a muffled sound came from within his body, as if a bolt of lightning had exploded within his body. Qin Feiyong immediately felt that it didn't seem to be so painful anymore. His consciousness was also quickly leaving the darkness. Moreover, he faintly sensed that his body and mind seemed to be undergoing some kind of transformation. Did I succeed? Qin Feiyong was suspicious. Yes, you succeeded. Yuan Bo's voice came into his mind. Qin Feiyong breathed a sigh of relief. When the pain completely disappeared, he got up and moved his muscles and bones, but there was no soreness at all. Yuan Bo smiled and said, "How do you feel?" Qin Feiyong said with lingering fear, "I feel that I am about to go to the underworld to report." Yuan Bo said, "I am asking you, do you feel any difference?" Qin Feiyong nodded and said, "There is, but I can't explain it clearly. This feeling is very ethereal, and there is an indescribable comfort all over my body." Yuan Bo smiled and said, "That's right. Because your whole body, including your blood, has undergone a transformation. Look at your chest." Qin Feiyong quickly took off his shirt and wiped off the blood on his chest. A white imprint suddenly appeared. This imprint was in the shape of a door, as if it had fused with the skin and couldn't be wiped off. Potential imprint. Qin Feiyong's eyes suddenly lit up. Looking at this imprint, he was finally sure that he had really broken through the extreme realm, because this was the potential imprint that opened the first level of the potential gate. From now on, his cultivation speed would be twice as fast as others. In other words. Chapter 23. Uncle Yuan, thank you. Qin Feiyong bowed and thanked him. If not for Uncle Yuan's help, it would be impossible for him to break through the extreme martial artist realm and open the first level of the gate of potential. He would never forget this kindness for as long as he lived. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, "Silly boy, I can only be your guide. You have to walk your own path in the future. I won't let you down." Qin Feiyong said seriously. The second level of the gate of potential, the extreme martial master realm. The third level of the gate of potential, the extreme martial ancestor realm. He had to rely on his own efforts to break through these two extreme realms. Actually, he could choose to wait until his cultivation was strong enough to break through the extreme realms. For example, it would be relatively easier to break through the extreme martial artist realm after becoming a martial master or martial ancestor. But he would lose at the starting line. Qin Feiyong would absolutely not allow such a situation to happen, because Uncle Yuan nurtured him so carefully and even gave him the elixir to help him win at the starting line. Therefore, he had to break through the extreme realms as scheduled and not drag it out. This way, he would not let down Uncle Yuan's efforts. "Let's go out first." Looking at Qin Feiyong's determined eyes, Uncle Yuan nodded in relief. He waved his hand and that familiar force shrouded them again. The next moment, the two appeared on the mountain top. Qin Feiyong looked around and asked, "Uncle Yuan, where is the entrance to the secret chamber?" Uncle Yuan said, "There is no entrance to the secret chamber. How can we go in without an entrance?" Qin Feiyong was extremely bewildered. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, "When you succeed in gathering qi, I will tell you." Qin Feiyong was stunned and said helplessly, "Uncle Yuan, are you trying to trick me? If you really don't want to tell me, just say it. Don't push it to tomorrow and tomorrow." Uncle Yuan was stunned and shook his head. "If I don't say that, you will pester me all day long." Okay, I won't ask any more in the future." Qin Feiyong was helpless. He had too many questions in his heart. Where did the cleansing marrow pill come from? Where did Chang Shui come from? Why does Uncle Yuan know how to fly? What was the deal with the secret chamber and the medicinal pill with the dragon-shaped pill qi? He wanted to know all of these answers. However, Uncle Yuan clearly didn't intend to tell him. He also couldn't force him to ask, so he could only give up. "Who?" Qin Feiyong heaved a long sigh and looked up at the starry sky. "When I was 7 years old, I consumed 200 qi amassing pills. Took me 1 day to gather qi. But now my foundation is still there, and with the potential imprint, I should be able to successfully gather qi before dawn." Without further delay, he sat down cross-legged and took out all the energy convergence pills he had. He bought 30 pieces from the treasure pavilion. He got 80 from Chao Lang. There was a total of 110 pills. It should be enough for him to condense true qi. In the meantime, Yuan Bo looked around vigilantly. When gathering qi, the most frightening thing was to be disturbed. There had to be someone to protect him, otherwise it would be easy to waste all his previous efforts. Dawn. It came quietly. After Qin Feiyang refined 100 qi-amassing pills, the surging energy almost tore his body apart. But he didn't even frown. Previously in the secret chamber, when he broke through the martial artist's extreme realm, he could grit his teeth and persevere, let alone this pain. Gradually, the first wisp of true qi was finally born in his body. Moreover, with the birth of true qi, Qin Feiyang's strength also soared crazily. There was a saying that everything was difficult at the beginning. But as long as the beginning was made, the next step would be much easier. The second wisp, the third wisp, the fourth wisp. Wisps of true qi were constantly born. An hour later, there were a total of 50 wisps of true qi in his body. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang suddenly got up, closed his eyes, clenched his fists, and carefully sensed the violent power in his body. A moment later, he opened his eyes, which were shining brightly. The power he had now was equivalent to the strength of a brute elephant. That was the strength of 10,000 pounds. Although there was only one step between a martial artist and a martial master, the difference was like heaven and earth. A 9-star martial artist had the strength of 9 bears. It was equivalent to 4,500 pounds of strength. However, as long as he succeeded in gathering qi and became a 1-star martial master, his strength would increase exponentially. This was a qualitative leap. Uncle Yuan laughed. Feiyang, congratulations on stepping into the 1-star martial master realm. You are 1 step closer to the 9-star martial master realm. Yeah, that's fast. Qin Feiyang was filled with emotions. In 5 days he had stepped into the 1-star martial master realm from a 1-star martial artist. This was something that he did not even dare to dream about. But immediately after, his eyes were filled with hatred as he said, "If they hadn't forced me to swallow the calamity pill back then, I would have already stepped into the War King realm. I might even have stepped into the War Emperor realm." Uncle Yuan patted his shoulder and comforted him. The past is not important. What is important is the present. Qin Feiyang nodded. Uncle Yuan laughed. Today is your 15th birthday. Uncle Yuan has prepared a big gift for you. What gift? Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have such a big reaction. But it was different now. After seeing how powerful and mysterious Uncle Yuan was, he expected that this gift would definitely be extraordinary. However, the smile on Uncle Yuan's face instantly disappeared. Strands of bone-piercing cold air also spread out from his body. He said coldly, "Go to the Dan Palace and kill Ma Hongmei." Qin Feiyang's body trembled, and his gaze became incomparably sharp. This woman indeed deserved to be killed. Whiz! Uncle Yuan waved his hand and brought Qin Feiyang to the Iron Ox Town. In less than 100 breaths, the Iron Ox Town entered Qin Feiyang's line of sight. So fast. I don't know when I'll be able to fly. Qin Feiyang muttered. Uncle Yuan did not have the slightest scruple and directly flew into the Iron Ox Town. Did you see someone flying in the sky? Flying? I think you're dreaming. Someone who can fly in the sky is a god. How can a god come to our broken town? That's right. I must be seeing things. As Uncle Yuan's speed was too fast, no one in the Iron Ox Town noticed them. Even if they did, they could only see a light shadow that disappeared in the blink of an eye. Swish! Uncle Yuan brought Qin Feiyang and landed at the bottom of the stone stairs. Qin Feiyang looked along the stone stairs. What happened 5 days ago uncontrollably surfaced in his mind. His hands slowly clenched into fists. The killing intent in his eyes was stronger than the previous wave. Finally, his gaze locked onto the main hall at the peak. A substantial killing intent burst out from his eyes. Uncle Yuan raised his head to look at the main hall and said, "Feiyang, today you can do whatever you want. Even if the sky collapses, Uncle Yuan will support you." The words caused the blood in Qin Feiyang's body to boil. That's right. With Uncle Yuan here, who would he be afraid of? Ma Hongmei, get out here. Chapter 24. That's Qin Feiyang's voice. Why did he call Ma Hongmei? The voice came from the pill hall. Could it be that he's going to take revenge on Ma Hongmei? The small town was in an uproar. Those who were still sleeping were also woken up by the roar. Everyone walked out of their houses and rushed towards the pill hall. Clang! At the same time, the door of the pill hall opened, and two young men walked out. Qin Feiyang, you really have guts. You even dare to call Elder Ma's name directly. You won't have a good time after offending the pill hall. Quickly kneel down and apologize. The two of them stood at the peak and looked down at Qin Feiyang. Their eyes were filled with disdain. Kneel down. Qin Feiyang was so angry that he laughed. He stepped on the stone stairs and walked towards the peak. How dare you ignore our orders? Qin Feiyang, I think you've eaten a leopard's guts today. The two young men were furious. Qin Feiyang sneered and said, May I ask what qualifications do you have to order me around? Just because you're a disciple of the pill hall? What a joke. You all right, Qin Feiyang. If you have the guts, don't run away today. The two of them flew into a rage and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. At this moment, a few figures rushed over. When they saw Qin Feiyang on the stone stairs, they were shocked. These people were the martial arts hall master, the Lin clan master, the Zhao clan master, and Lin Bailey. The Zhao clan master was a white-clothed old man. His body was strong, his face was red, and he was full of energy. He glanced at the two disciples of the pill hall, then looked at Qin Feiyang. He asked curiously, what does Qin Feiyang want to do? The Lin clan master said, It's obvious that he's here to find trouble with the pill hall. The martial arts hall master frowned and said, Even the people of the martial arts hall don't dare to trespass into the pill hall. He's provoking us so brazenly. Does he want to die? Lin Bailey remained silent, but his eyes were flickering. However, the four of them automatically ignored Uncle, who was at the side. They couldn't be blamed. Uncle retracted his aura now, and he looked like an ordinary old man. Get down! The two pill hall's disciples ran as if they were flying. When they met Qin Feiyang, they shouted at the same time and raised their legs at the same time. One from the left and one from the right, they kicked towards Qin Feiyang. This scene. Ma! Next! Qin Feiyang took a step forward and stood on the same platform as the two of them. His hands were like the claws of an eagle. He grabbed the two of them by their necks and dragged them towards the peak. Woo! Woo! The two of them screamed with all their might. They struggled with all their might. But the big hand that grabbed their necks was like an iron clamp. It could crush their throats any time. How is this possible? The Lin clan master opened his eyes wide in disbelief. The Zhao family master was the same. Although the Zhao family didn't have any grudges with Qin Feiyang, everyone knew that Qin Feiyang was a piece of trash. But the reality was the complete opposite. Was he really a piece of trash? This kid is really not simple. The martial arts hall master murmured. As for Lin Bailey, he wasn't surprised at all when he saw Qin Feiyang's strength. Instead, he crossed his arms in front of his chest and smirked. At this moment, Ma Hongmei and the third hall master walked out from the main hall one after another. Looking at Qin Feiyang, who was walking on the stone steps, Ma Hongmei's eyes flashed with killing intent. She shouted, Not only did you trespass into the pill hall, but you also hurt my disciples. Qin Feiyang, do you want to die? Qin Feiyang stopped and let go of his hands. The two disciples of the pill hall were lying on the stone steps. Their backs were bleeding and their flesh was torn open. Third hall master, Elder Ma, please save us. They screamed and begged Ma Hongmei and the third hall master for help. Today no one can save you. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. He turned around and kicked them. The two of them rolled down like rubber balls. Instantly, their heads were broken and bleeding. Their screams resounded through the sky. This is a blatant provocation. The martial arts hall master and the others' pupils contracted. They couldn't understand what Qin Feiyang was relying on to be so arrogant in the pill hall. The residents of the town also came one after another. Without exception, they were all dumbfounded. Their jaws almost fell off. Ma Hongmei and the third hall master's faces were also terrifyingly gloomy. However, Qin Feiyang wasn't afraid at all. He turned around and looked at the two of them. He said, Do the two of you feel that this scene is very familiar? The third hall master said in a deep voice, Qin Feiyang, do you know what you're doing now? Of course I know. 5 days ago, didn't Ma Hongmei kick me down like this? Now I'm kicking them down. Why can't I? However, even if I can survive, it doesn't mean that they can too. Rolling down from such a high place should be a dead end. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. What do you mean? 5 days ago, it wasn't Qin Feiyong who lost his footing and rolled down himself. The crowd below started to discuss. What a load of nonsense. Ma Hongmei shouted. Don't do it unless it's in the first place. Qin Feiyong lifted the corner of his mouth slightly and continued to walk towards the peak. Ma Hongmei's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The third hall master said in a deep voice, Qin Feiyong, go and bring them back immediately. Then, break one of your arms and we'll let this matter go. Otherwise, however, before he could finish his words, the screams stopped abruptly. Qin Feiyong turned around and saw that the 2 disciples of the Pill Palace had already lost their vitality. They died just like that? He was a little stunned. They were too weak. He turned around and looked at Ma Hongmei and the third hall master. He revealed 2 rows of white teeth and smiled. I'm sorry. They've already fallen to their deaths. If you want their bodies, I'm more than happy to help. Is this kid crazy? After killing the disciples of the Pill Palace, he didn't kowtow and beg for mercy. Instead, he continued to provoke the third hall master? Seems like he's going to die today. The noisy discussion drowned this place. However, Qin Feiyong didn't have any mood swings. He continued to walk towards the peak. Boom! All of a sudden, a strong aura rushed out from the third hall master's body. He looked at Qin Feiyong with murderous intent and said, now you only have one chance to live. Break both of your arms and dig out your eyes. Then you might be disappointed. Qin Feiyong grinned at the third hall master. There was no suspense. The third hall master was completely enraged. He walked down the stone stairs step by step. His entire body was filled with anger. Seeing this, a smear of ridicule flashed across Ma Hongmei's eyes. She lowered her head to look at the martial arts hall master and instigated. Martial arts hall master, Chao Lang was killed by Qin Feiyong. Are you going to let this debt go just like that? You have to know that Chao Lang is the #1 genius of your martial arts hall. Chao Lang was killed by Qin Feiyong? How is this possible? Chao Lang is a 1-star martial master. Everyone turned pale with fright. Especially the Lin clan head and the Zhao clan head. They were the most shocked. The martial arts hall master raised his head and looked at Ma Hongmei. He strode to the stone stairs and stood on one of the steps. He said, Qin Feiyong, you have no way out now. As long as you do as the third hall master says, I will not pursue Chao Lang's death. At this moment, the Lin clan's housekeeper, Lin Yong, hurriedly ran to the Lin clan head. He raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyong. He then whispered a few words in the Lin clan head's ear. Damn it! Qin Feiyong, you actually killed Lin Gu and Lin Gua. The Lin clan head was furious. He raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyong. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. What? Even Lin Gua and Lin Gua were killed by Qin Feiyong. This can't be true, right? The surrounding crowd was filled with disbelief. This is true. A few days ago, Lin Gu and Lin Gua mysteriously disappeared. I brought people to search the nearby mountains, but they were nowhere to be found. Last night, I suddenly remembered that Lin Gua and Lin Gua seemed to have a grudge with Qin Feiyong. I was thinking, could their disappearance have something to do with Qin Feiyong? So, I brought people to Qin Feiyong's residence overnight to search. In the end, I really found their corpses in a hill near the entrance. Say, if this wasn't done by Qin Feiyong, who else could it be? Furthermore, Lin Shi and Lin Feng of our Lin clan were also killed by him. Lin Yong shouted loudly. He actually killed so many people. This is simply insane. We must kill him today to prevent him from continuing to harm our Iron Ox town. Kill him. The crowd roared. Their voices shook the sky. The Lin clan had also walked to the side of the martial arts hall master, and looked coldly at Qin Feiyong. Haha. Qin Feiyong swept his gaze over the crowd below. When he saw the overbearing killing intent in their eyes, he suddenly laughed out loud. What is he laughing at? The crowd frowned. That's right, they were all killed by me, Qin Feiyong. But I have a clear conscience. Qin Feiyong said firmly. He looked up at Ma Hongmei and shouted, Today, I will chop off your head and let your blood dye the Dan Hall red. After finishing his words, He was like a mad lion rushing towards the peak angrily. As for the third hall master who was rushing down, he directly ignored him. That will depend on whether you have the ability to come up. Ma Hongmei sneered. The third hall master was a 9-star martial master. With him here, Qin Feiyong wanting to rush up was simply a daydream. At the same time, Qin Feiyong's attitude was like adding fuel to the fire, making the third hall master furious. Qin Feiyong, if I don't kill you today, what face will the Dan Hall have in the Iron Ox town? His killing intent was truly aroused. Die! As he approached, he roared. True qi gushed out from his palm and he slapped towards Qin Feiyong's head. At this moment, everyone thought that Qin Feiyong was dead for sure. But at this moment, Uncle Yuan, who had been watching coldly from the side, finally moved. He turned into a divine rainbow and rushed to the sky. In the blink of an eye, he landed in front of Qin Feiyong. Then he gently slapped his palm and it collided with the third hall master's palm. Immediately, a painful scream was heard. The third palace master flew out like a meteorite and smashed into the stone stairs above. Chapter 25. Uncle Yuan's speed was too fast. There were a few thousand pairs of eyes here, but none of them saw how he left. Even the martial arts hall master was at a loss. When did he go up? Wasn't he just down there? He appeared in front of Qin Feiyong in the blink of an eye from such a far distance. Could he be a spirit? This place was dead silent. Everyone's face was filled with confusion and shock. For 5 years, Uncle Yuan was a frequent visitor of the Iron Bull town. Hence everyone knew him more or less. In everyone's impression, he was just an ordinary old man. No matter what gossip he heard, he would just laugh it off. However, unexpectedly, this seemingly weak old man not only appeared in front of Qin Feiyong without anyone noticing, but also severely injured the third hall master of the Pill Hall with one palm strike. It was too unbelievable. Especially the Lin clan master. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets, because he knew Uncle Yuan better than anyone else. He was very sure that Uncle Yuan was just an ordinary man. But now, how could he explain the truth in front of him? Impossible. I must be dreaming. Ma Hongmei, who was standing at the peak, was also mumbling to herself. Her eyes were dull. The strength that Uncle Yuan displayed had a huge impact on her. It was really hard to accept. However, but facing this sort of spectacle that was the focus of attention, Yuan Bo did not stir up the slightest bit of ripple. Qin Feiyong didn't stop either. He walked past the third hall master and rushed to the peak without looking back. In his eyes there was only Ma Hongmei. The third hall master stood up slowly and turned to look at Qin Feiyong. Then, he looked at Uncle Yuan and asked, "Who are you?" Uncle Yuan didn't answer. He didn't even look at him. Wherever Qin Feiyong went, his eyes would follow. It was as if there was only room for Qin Feiyong in his eyes. Boom! Qin Feiyong reached the peak in one step. Without saying anything, he threw a punch at Ma Hongmei. The fist was like thunder, creating a gust of wind. "Little bastard, you're courting death." Ma Hongmei suddenly came back to her senses. She was also angry. With a loud shout, he swung his palm at Qin Feiyong's fist. Bang! Thump thump. The two of them retreated continuously, blood flowing out from the corners of their mouths. How is this possible? Ma Hongmei turned pale with fright. The third hall master, martial arts hall master, Lin clan's clan head, and Zhao clan's clan head were all dumbfounded. Even Lin Bailey put down his hands at this moment, and his gaze became aggressive. As for the others, their expressions were even more exaggerated. Their mouths were gaping so wide that one could stuff an egg into them. Ma Hongmei, your time has come. After Qin Feiyong stabilized his body, his right foot suddenly kicked, and like a mad bison, he swooped down toward Ma Hongmei. His imposing manner was like a rainbow. His strength is actually on par with mine. Ma Hongmei was still unable to accept this fact. I don't believe it. Suddenly, she roared angrily and fought with all her might. Bang! Bang! The two of them started fighting crazily. As their fists and feet collided, there was a deafening sound. They are actually on par with each other? When did Qin Feiyong become so powerful? Elder Ma is a 1-star martial master. Could it be that Qin Feiyong is also a 1-star martial master? Everyone present was extremely surprised and doubtful. "Little bastard, I'll kill you," Ma Hongmei suddenly roared, and a gush of true qi gushed out from her palm. A terrifying aura spread in all directions. "You can't do it." Qin Feiyong's hair was flying in the wind, and his gaze was sharp. Similarly, a gush of true qi gushed out from his palm. Bang! When the two palms met, the two of them retreated violently again. True qi. He is indeed a one-star martial master. Then why did he look so sickly before? He must be pretending to be weak. This place was completely in an uproar. Clan Headland's expression was more interesting than anyone else's. This good-for-nothing is actually a one-star martial artist. His talent is even better than E's. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Yes. He began to regret it. If he had known that Qin Feiyong's talent was so terrifying, he would not have done those things. At the peak, Qin Feiyong steadied himself and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He raised his head and looked at Ma Hongmei. He sneered, "You don't understand how an ant that could be bullied so wantonly 5 days ago can become a one-star martial master now?" Ma Hongmei did not answer, but her gloomy expression was enough to explain everything. 30 years of River East, 30 years of River West. But I, Qin Feiyong, don't need 30 years. I only need 5 days to trample you under my feet. At this moment, Qin Feiyong seemed to have returned to the Qin Feiyong from 5 years ago. His confidence, dominance, and arrogance were vividly displayed. "So what if you're a one-star martial master? I'll still kill you." Ma Hongmei's eyes were filled with killing intent. She rushed in front of Qin Feiyong in a few steps and raised her arm. Her 5 fingers were bent, and true qi coiled around her fingertips like an eagle's claw, emitting a powerful aura. "Eagle's claw!" she shouted and suddenly grabbed at Qin Feiyong's head. Martial technique. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong's pupils contracted and he retreated without hesitation. But Ma Hongmei still grabbed his arm. Puff! Those 5 fingers were as hard as steel needles. They easily broke through Qin Feiyong's skin and sank into his flesh. Then, Ma Hongmei sneered and pulled with force. She actually tore off a piece of flesh from Qin Feiyong's arm. Blood immediately gushed out. Ma Hongmei retreated 3 feet and threw away the piece of flesh. She sneered, "Qin Feiyong, do you see? This is the difference between us. I've already mastered martial techniques. It's easy for me to kill you. If it wasn't for Qin Yuan, you would have died just now. Do you understand?" Qin Feiyong covered his arm and looked at Ma Hongmei. Not only was he not worried, but there was also a trace of ridicule in his eyes. Uncle Yuan said indifferently, "Ma Hongmei, you don't have to worry about me. As long as you have the ability, even if you kill Feiyong, I won't interfere." Really? Ma Hongmei was surprised. Of course. Uncle Yuan nodded. But if one looked carefully, one would notice that there was a trace of contempt in his eyes. After becoming a martial master, one could learn martial techniques. Martial techniques increased a person's overall combat strength. Martial techniques were also divided into grades. Low-grade martial techniques, middle-grade martial techniques, high-grade martial techniques, and perfect martial techniques. The higher the grade, the stronger the increase in combat strength. As the prince of the Great Qin Empire, would Qin Feiyong lack martial techniques? Obviously not. In his mind, there were at least hundreds of martial technique cultivation methods. Moreover, they were all perfect martial techniques. After all, at that time, Qin Feiyong had a noble status, a powerful background, and was doted on by thousands. Apart from the perfect martial skill, no other martial skill could enter his eyes. It was no exaggeration to say that he was equivalent to a moving martial arts treasure trove. And as early as 5 years ago, Qin Feiyong had already practiced several martial techniques to the point of perfection. Although his cultivation had been crippled these years, he did not forget the martial techniques engraved in his memory. Therefore, Uncle Yuan had full confidence in Qin Feiyong. But Ma Hongmei did not know these. Hearing Uncle Yuan's words, she was overjoyed. The only person she was afraid of was Uncle Yuan. As for Qin Feiyong, she did not take him to heart at all. "Haha, Qin Feiyong, wake up!" She let out a loud laugh and extended both of her hands. Her hands turned into eagle claws and attacked Qin Feiyong furiously. Qin Feiyong remained motionless as he stared at her. But his right hand gradually clenched into a fist. They are both one-star martial masters. In terms of strength, they are evenly matched. That's right. If Ma Hongmei did not have any martial techniques, Qin Feiyong would definitely win because he is ruthless enough. Yes, if it were someone else, he would have already made a fuss when a piece of flesh was torn off his arm, but he did not even frown. This is the first time in my life that I have seen such terrifying endurance. It seems that the outcome has been decided. People were discussing softly. Hearing these discussions, the head of the Lin family could not help but sneer. There were even many people who looked away, unable to bear to see the bloody scene that was about to happen. He moved. But at this moment, someone exclaimed. Those who had just looked away immediately looked up again, their faces full of shock and bewilderment. At this moment, Qin Feiyong bent his waist, arched his body and clenched his right hand. He was like a bull that was about to go berserk, his whole body exuding a shocking aura. Whoosh! Suddenly he was like an arrow from a fully drawn bow, shooting out explosively. His whole body was filled with a violent airflow. Seeing this, Ma Hongmei's pupils contracted. The current Qin Feiyong actually made her feel a strong threat, and even a sense of fear emerged. I have mastered martial techniques. Why should I be afraid of him? She suddenly flew out, grabbing Qin Feiyong's head with both hands. In the blink of an eye, the two collided with each other. Go to hell! Ma Hongmei shouted, and a cruel smile appeared in her eyes. Thunder-killing fist. At the same time, Qin Feiyong also let out an explosive shout. His shout was like the roar of a dragon and the roar of a tiger. It was deafening. That clenched fist blasted out like lightning. True Qi bright light. Boom! The fist blasted on Ma Hongmei's chest. Crack! Bones broken on the spot. The whole chest also then caved in. Puff! Ma Hongmei spat out a mouthful of blood. Like a meteorite, she flew out, and then with a bang smashed on the ground more than 10 meters away. The blood-curdling screech that sounded like a pig being slaughtered echoed in all directions. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned. He actually also mastered martial techniques. And from the looks of it, the level was higher than Ma Hongmei's falcon claw. How could this be? How could he possibly have martial techniques? How many tricks does he have hidden? The Lin family head muttered to himself, and his intestines were about to turn green with regret. If he had treated Qin Feiyong better in the past, if he had not forcibly separated Yi and Qin Feiyong, then now with the relationship between Yi and Qin Feiyong, if he asked for this martial technique called Thunder-Killing Fist, Qin Feiyong would definitely not refuse. At this moment, the martial arts hall master, the Zhao family head, and the third hall master were also shocked. A 15-year-old one-star martial master, and also mastered a powerful martial technique. How was this a waste? Chapter 26. Everyone at the scene was dumbstruck. However, Qin Feiyong was squatting on the ground. He looked at his fist and frowned slightly. Frankly speaking, he was still not satisfied with the power of this punch. Martial techniques could increase one's combat power in a progressive manner. Low-grade martial technique could increase the power of one barbarian elephant. Mid-grade martial technique could increase the power of 2 barbarian elephants. High-grade martial technique could increase the power of 3 barbarian elephants. Perfect martial technique could increase the power of 4 barbarian elephants. Thunder-Killing Fist was a perfect martial technique. However, Qin Feiyong clearly felt that it had only increased the power of 2 barbarian elephants. In other words, he had only used half of its power. Otherwise, Ma Hongmei wouldn't just be severely injured. She would have died on the spot. I haven't used these martial techniques for 5 years. I'm a little rusty. Luckily, Ma Hongmei's cultivation isn't high. Otherwise, I would have been the one at a disadvantage. Seems like I have to find some time to practice it. Phew. Qin Feiyong muttered to himself and let out a long sigh. He stood up and looked at Ma Hongmei before walking over with large strides. Seeing this, the third palace master's expression changed. He shouted, "Qin Feiyong, this is the Pill Palace. Don't be presumptuous. If this wasn't the Pill Palace, I wouldn't have come." Qin Feiyong sneered and stopped in front of Ma Hongmei. The third palace master was anxious. However, he couldn't do anything to Uncle Yuan who was beside him. Clang! Qin Feiyang took out the Chang Shui. It was extremely sharp. Ma Hongmei's body trembled. She said in fear, Qin Feiyang, if you dare to kill me, you're going against the entire Pill Palace. Qin Feiyang squatted beside Ma Hongmei's head and shook the Chang Shui on her neck. He said jokingly, is the Pill Palace that great? What? How can he say such words? Everyone was speechless. They seemed to have underestimated this guy's arrogance. However, Ma Hongmei was terrified. She was afraid that if Qin Feiyang missed, Chang Shui would fall and slit her throat. The third palace master withdrew his gaze and turned his head to look at Uncle Yuan. He said, Qin Feiyang, Elder Ma has already been severely injured by Qin Feiyang. The resentment in your hearts should have dissipated by now. How about we end this matter here? Uncle Yuan said indifferently, if you cut the weeds without removing the roots, there will be no end to the trouble. The third hall master's body stiffened and he said angrily, if you insist on causing trouble, the Pill Hall has never been afraid of anyone. When the first hall master and second hall master return, I will definitely report this matter to them. The threat in his words was not concealed at all. Whatever. Uncle Yuan glanced at him. His tone was still calm as if he didn't put the Pill Hall in his eyes. The third palace master was furious. He said word by word, don't regret it. Regret? Uncle Yuan sized him up, his expression still very calm. But suddenly, his feet left the stone steps and he slowly rose into the air. What? The third palace master cried out in alarm and his expression changed drastically. In the meantime, Lin Bailey's body trembled. His face was filled with disbelief. This old man was actually a combat emperor. The martial arts hall master, the Lin clan master, and the Zhao clan master also had disbelief in their eyes. As for the others, there was no need to talk about it. It was as if they had seen a deity. They were extremely terrified. Uncle Yuan stood in midair like a king. He looked down at the third palace master and said indifferently, today, even if I raise the Pill Hall to the ground, no one will dare to stop me. Do you believe me? The third palace master raised his head and looked at Uncle Yuan in a daze. After a long time, he smiled bitterly and bowed, Senior Qin. This junior spoke without thinking earlier. Please be magnanimous and not hold it against this junior. What a joke. This was a battle emperor. Not to mention raising the Pill Hall to the ground, even if he destroyed the entire Iron Ox town, no one would dare to say anything. Uncle Yuan didn't say anything about it, but he didn't say that he wouldn't either. He asked, then can Ma Hongmei be killed? The third palace master's body stiffened. He struggled in his heart. In the end, he made up his mind and nodded. As long as you can calm down if you want to kill her. Then kill her. Hearing this, Ma Hongmei's face instantly turned pale. Her eyes were filled with despair that couldn't be dissolved. Only now did she realize that she had offended someone that she could never afford to offend. No, I can't die, I still have a great future. Qin Feiyang, don't kill me. I beg you, I'll kneel down and apologize to you. Ma Hongmei endured the pain and got up. She knelt down in front of Qin Feiyang and begged. Qin Feiyang said, then tell everyone, did you or did you not kick me down 5 days ago? Yes. Ma Hongmei nodded and said, it's all my fault. I'll apologize to you. Can you forgive me? Qin Feiyang really didn't fall down by himself. This Ma Hongmei is too much. She actually did such a despicable thing. She's simply ruining the Pill Hall's reputation. Everyone looked at Ma Hongmei with disgust and indignation. So, Qin Feiyang didn't lie back then. I'm really stupid. The third hall master blamed himself. He raised his head and looked at Ma Hongmei. He said disappointedly, as the Pill Hall's deacon elder, you should set a good example. But you did such a despicable thing. He looked at the crowd below and shouted, now I officially announce that Ma Hongmei is expelled from the Pill Hall. She will never be recruited again. Ma Hongmei's body trembled and became even paler. Not only was her reputation ruined, but she also lost her status as the Pill Hall's deacon elder. Now she had nothing. Qin Feiyang lifted the corner of his mouth slightly and said, tell the martial arts hall master and everyone else about Chao Lang's identity. The martial arts hall master frowned. Ma Hongmei said, Chao Lang is the son of the Black Demon Stronghold's chief. Also, the black demon stronghold was burned down by Qin Feiyang. What? He's actually the son of that demon. Good kill. That's right. It wouldn't be too much to kill this kind of person. Qin Feiyang, I'm really sorry. I wronged you just now. You burned down the black demon stronghold and got rid of the evil for the people. We should thank you. But we blamed you just now. I'm sorry. After knowing Chao Lang's true identity, everyone's attitude immediately changed 180 degrees. Someone apologized. Someone applauded. As for Bao Chuan as Ma Hongmei's disciple, everyone felt that he should be killed. It was obvious that Bao Chuan wanted to harm Qin Feiyang. That was why he was killed by Qin Feiyang. Ma Hongmei looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I've said what you asked me to say. I've also said what you didn't ask me to say. Can you let me go now? All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and said, I'll set you free now. I hope that you can be a good person in your next life. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his hand. Chang Shui showed his ability and directly cut off Ma Hongmei's neck. Blood splattered everywhere. Ma Hongmei covered her neck and stared at Qin Feiyang with hatred. You should be glad that your corpse is intact, because I was going to cut off your head. Qin Feiyang glanced at her indifferently. Then he grabbed Chang Shui and walked down the stone stairs. Bang! Ma Hongmei also fell to the ground and died. It's finally over. The third palace master muttered to himself. He strode toward Qin Feiyang and cupped his hands. Qin Feiyang, I sincerely apologize to you. If you still need the marrow cleansing pill, I'll give it to you now. I don't need it now. Qin Feiyang shook his head and brushed past the third palace master. Uncle Yuan landed beside Qin Feiyang and smiled. Do you feel better now? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Only when he returned to the Great Qin Empire and killed all those who betrayed him would he feel better. Uncle Yuan patted his shoulder and didn't say anything else. Qin Yuan is a combat emperor. How did this happen? If I had known, I wouldn't have stopped Qin Feiyang and Yi from being together. I would have even taken the initiative to matchmake them. Looking at the two people on the stone stairs, the Lin family head clenched his fists. His heart was filled with regret. Even his body was trembling. Lin Baili noticed the change in the Lin family head and asked, Uncle Lin, do you regret it? The Lin clan's clan head nodded without concealing anything. I am indeed very regretful. However, what I fear the most is that Qin Feiyang will take revenge on us. You have seen it yourself. He is someone who will definitely take revenge. Revenge? He doesn't have the guts. Because the ancestor of the Lin family is also a combat emperor. Lin Baili smiled. Really? The Lin family head's eyes lit up. That's not all. Our Lin family has been married to the royal family for generations. As long as Qin Feiyang doesn't join the Pill Hall or the Martial Arts Hall, there's nothing to worry about. Lin Baili's eyes were filled with disdain. The Lin family head heaved a sigh of relief. Although Ma Hongmei and Chao Lang deserved to be killed, after what happened, whether it was Qin Feiyang, the third hall master, or the martial arts hall master, there must be some estrangement in their hearts. It was impossible for Qin Feiyang to join the Pill Hall or the martial arts hall. However, before he could finish this thought, the third hall master suddenly turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang. He said loudly, Qin Feiyang, if you're willing to join the Pill Hall, whatever elixir you want, as long as the Pill Hall has it, I'll give it to you. What? The Lin family head's body shook. Not only did the third hall master take the initiative to invite Qin Feiyang to join, but he also made such a promise? Qin Feiyang, if you are willing to join the martial arts hall, I won't be able to promise you a lot of elixirs like the third hall master. However, I can guarantee that you will be able to choose any martial skill and the best resources. The martial arts hall master also threw out an olive branch. The Lin family head was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 27. The Pill Hall and the Martial Arts Hall sent out invitations at the same time and made such promises. Such a situation had never happened in the Iron Ox town. This was enough to show how much the third hall master and the martial arts hall master valued Qin Feiyang. The Lin family head's heart was filled with regret again. He never expected that things would develop to this point. Now, as long as Qin Feiyang nodded, He could become a Pill Hall disciple or a martial arts hall disciple. His status would rise instantly. With his talent, entering the Danwang Hall or martial arts hall in the future was a sure thing. Future. It could be set to be bright. God, why do you have to make such a big joke with me? The Lin family head cried in his heart. He wanted to cry but had no tears. At this moment, Qin Feiyang became the focus again. Everyone was watching. Everyone was looking forward to what he would choose. Enter the Pill Hall? Or the martial arts hall? If they had to choose, they would definitely choose the Pill Hall without hesitation. Because in this world, nothing was more important than elixirs. However, as the person involved, Qin Feiyang acted as if he didn't hear it. He quickly walked down the stone stairs with Uncle Yuan. The crowd automatically separated and made a path to the street. Seeing Qin Feiyang and Uncle Yuan entering the main street, the martial arts hall master and the third hall master had a trace of disappointment. This kid was a real talent. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it. Lin Bailey's eyes flashed slightly. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and smiled. Qin Feiyang, today is Yi's 15th birthday. We are going to hold a big banquet and invite all the famous people in the Iron Ox town. I wonder if you can do me the honor and follow me to the Lin family? Yi's birthday? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. Too many things happened in the past few days. He almost forgot that Lin Yi and he were born on the same year, month, and day. However, he was born in the morning and Lin Yi was born at night. So Lin Yi called him brother. This was also the main reason why they had a good relationship. If it was in the past, he would definitely accept the invitation. But now, he didn't want to step into the Lin family anymore because he didn't want to see those hypocritical faces. He was about to refuse. However, Uncle Yuan beat him to it and said, I promise on behalf of Feiyang. Tonight, Feiyang will go to congratulate on time. It's settled then. I'll personally go to the entrance to welcome you all. Lin Bailey smiled. Uncle Yuan turned his head and looked at Lin Bailey meaningfully. Then, he quickly left with Qin Feiyang. Bai Li, why are you inviting them? The head of the Lin family looked at Lin Bailey in confusion. Uncle Lin, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Lin Bailey smiled and extended his invitation to the martial arts hall master, the third hall master, and the patriarch of the Zhao family. The three of them did not refuse and said that they would attend the banquet on time. After all, the Lin family was in Iron Ox Town and had great influence. They had to put on a show. Most importantly, they were very curious about Lin Bailey's identity. On the streets, Qin Feiyang and Uncle Yuan walked side by side. The townspeople were no longer as cold as before. When they saw the two of them, they would come up and greet them warmly. These people are really realistic. Qin Feiyang hated such people. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, not only them, but all living things in the world have a realistic side. Qin Feiyang nodded. He had already experienced the fickleness of human nature. Suddenly, he frowned and asked, Uncle Yuan, why do you want me to go to the Lin family? That Lin Bailey obviously doesn't have good intentions. Uncle Yuan teased, what? Just a mere Lin Bailey can scare you? Him. Qin Feiyang smiled in disdain. Lin Bailey was indeed talented, but it was only limited to this place. In the Great Qin Empire it was nothing. Uncle Yuan smiled and said, although Lin Bailey's identity is far from yours, he's still a disciple of a rich family. You two will meet again in the future. You can take the opportunity to get to know him. After all, only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win every battle. That's impossible. What kind of relationship do I have with him? Qin Feiyang didn't think much of it. Uncle Yuan smiled and didn't say anything. After leaving the town, the two entered a forest one after the other. Qin Feiyang looked around and asked, where are we going? Right here. Uncle Yuan stopped and looked back at Qin Feiyang. He smiled and said, are you satisfied with the birthday gift? Yes. Qin Feiyang grinned. After 5 years of humiliation, he could finally hold his head high today. Uncle Yuan smiled and opened his palm. Accompanied by strands of black light, an ancient castle appeared out of thin air. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. The ancient castle was only the size of a palm. It was dark and emitted a mysterious aura. But strangely, the ancient castle had no doors or windows. It was as if it was one with the castle. Uncle Yuan, what is this? Qin Feiyang was more and more puzzled. How could there be such a strange ancient castle in the world, and it was so small? Uncle Yuan said, I don't know the origin of this ancient castle, what is its name, what material is used to refine it. But I know that it is very hard. Even I can't break it. Moreover, people can hide inside. It's so hard? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Suddenly he seemed to have thought of something and asked, could it be? Without waiting for him to finish, Uncle Yuan nodded and smiled, that's right. The secret room where you took the elixir and broke through the limit of martial artist is its internal space. It's so magical? Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with surprise. Such a small thing and people can actually enter it. If he didn't experience it personally, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Feiyang, now I officially hand over this ancient castle to you. Uncle Yuan handed the ancient castle to Qin Feiyang. For me. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Uncle Yuan nodded. Why? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. There is no reason. Uncle Yuan shook his head. For a moment, Qin Feiyang didn't know what to do. Uncle Yuan directly stuffed it into Qin Feiyang's hands and said with a smile, this ancient castle needs to be dripped with blood to become its master before it can be used by you. At that time, you only need to move your mind and you can enter the inner space of the ancient castle. He continued, by the way, do you still remember the iron box in the ancient castle? Qin Feiyang said yes. The elixir that helped him break through the limit of martial artists was in the iron box. How could he forget? Uncle Yuan said, there is an iron book in the iron box. When you have time you can read it. Maybe it will be useful to you. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, should I bind it now? Uncle Yuan shook his head and smiled, there is no hurry. It won't be too late to bind it with blood after you come back from the Lin family. Now keep it first. Uncle Yuan will help you practice martial arts. Okay. Qin Feiyang curiously looked at the ancient castle and temporarily put it in his Qinkuan bag. He looked up at Uncle Yuan and smiled. You have to be merciful. Uncle Yuan rolled his eyes and said with a serious face, don't be long-winded. Come on. Rushing thunder kill fist. Qin Feiyang didn't talk nonsense. He turned into a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus and fought crazily with Uncle Yuan. Until the sun set in the west and dusk came. Only then did Qin Feiyang stop. He lay on the ground and gasped for breath. Although Uncle Yuan was just a sparring partner, he hit Qin Feiyang very hard. Not only was his nose bruised and his eyes swollen, but his body was also full of scars. But the harvest was not small. After a day of hard fighting, the martial arts that he had mastered before had been practiced to perfection. It was no longer like when he fought with Ma Hongmei, where he could only use half of his power. Uncle Yuan looked down at Qin Feiyang and said, do you know why I hit you so hard? Qin Feiyang shook his head. Uncle Yuan said, I want to tell you that when you face enemies in the future, no matter how strong or weak they are, you have to go all out. Otherwise, you will be at a disadvantage. Understood. Qin Feiyang nodded seriously. Uncle Yuan looked up at the sky and said with a smile, go to the Lin family quickly. Remember to prepare a decent gift. Qin Feiyang turned over and got up. The wounds all over his body made him grimace in pain. He asked Uncle Yuan, you're not going? Uncle Yuan shook his head and said with a smile, I'm already so old. Why would I go? Go quickly. I'll wait for you here. Okay. Qin Feiyang found a pool and washed himself. He changed into a clean set of clothes and ran to Iron Ox Town. But Qin Feiyang didn't notice. Uncle Yuan's eyes became a little disappointed, and there was a deep reluctance. Whoosh! When Qin Feiyang ran into the town, Uncle Yuan also retracted his gaze. He turned into a stream of light and rushed into the sky, quickly disappearing without a trace. Because the weather was too hot, Iron Ox Town was the busiest at night. On the street, figures crossed each other, shoulders brushing against each other. Qin Feiyang silently walked into the crowd. His brows were tightly knitted together. He was already very unwilling to go to the Lin family. He didn't expect Uncle Yuan to ask him to prepare a gift. It was really troublesome. Big sale. There are all kinds of jewelry. 1 silver coin per piece. You can choose whatever you want. An ear-piercing shout entered Qin Feiyang's ears. He strode over and saw a hawker on the street, shouting with all his might. There were indeed a lot of jewelry on the street. Could even be said that there was a dazzling lineup. But none of them were presentable. They were all low-quality goods. Qin Feiyong glanced and grabbed a jade bracelet directly, saying, "Boss, I want this." "Little brother Qin, I didn't expect you to patronize my business. If you like this jade bracelet, I will give it to you," the hawker said generously. "Thank you very much." Qin Feiyong was not polite and put it in his arms directly. "Little brother Qin, wait." Seeing that Qin Feiyong was about to leave, the hawker hurriedly ran out and asked, "Little brother Qin, are you going to the Lin family's banquet now?" Qin Feiyong nodded. The hawker's gaze immediately became strange and said, "Little brother, are you going to use this jade bracelet as Lin Yi's birthday gift?" "Can't I?" Qin Feiyong said. "Of course not. The Lin family is powerful. How can I use this as a gift? I don't want to harm you. Give it back to me." The hawker reached out to grab it. "Thank you for your concern. I know what to do." Qin Feiyong smiled, turned around and strode away. This Qin Feiyong is really different. But tonight, the Lin family will definitely put on a good show. Chapter 28. The Lin family was located in the south of the Iron Ox town. As one of the biggest families in the town, the Lin family mansion was naturally extraordinary. Qin Feiyong had been here many times, so he came to the front door with ease. Today, the Lin family mansion was decorated with lanterns and banners. The two servants of the Lin family guarding on both sides of the gate were also full of smiles. However, seeing Qin Feiyong coming, the two of them looked like they had seen a devil, and their faces instantly turned pale. "Where's Lin Bailey? Didn't he say this morning that he would personally welcome me here? Where is he now?" Qin Feiyong glanced at the two with extremely cold eyes. In the past, these two people used their master's power to threaten him, and of course, he wouldn't have a good face. "Young Master Lin is greeting guests inside," one of them hurriedly said. "No need, I hate people who don't keep their words the most. Since he is not sincere, I don't need to continue to stay." After Qin Feiyong finished speaking, he turned around and left. "Young Master Qin, we are just servants, don't make things difficult for us. Okay?" Yes, I will immediately report to young Master Lin." The two servants stopped in front of Qin Feiyong and looked at him pleadingly. If it was before, they would have already turned hostile. But now they absolutely didn't dare to. However, Qin Feiyong's expression became more and more indifferent. "Get out of the way." He coldly spat out these two words, and his whole body emitted a shocking aura. The two servants suddenly trembled both physically and mentally. Haha. At this moment, a light laugh sounded. A purple-clothed youth strode out of the house. It was Lin Bailey. He stood on the steps outside the door, and politely cupped his hands and smiled. "Brother Qin, I'm really sorry, I was too engrossed in talking with the third palace master and almost forgot about you. If there's any neglect, please forgive me." "Really?" Qin Feiyong lifted the corner of his mouth and smiled faintly. "I thought you were forgetful. How is that possible? As soon as I thought of you, I immediately came out to welcome you." "Old brother Qin, this is a mistake caused by my carelessness. Please don't make things difficult for them." "It's not easy for them either." Lin Bailey smiled. The two servants nodded repeatedly, feeling deeply grateful in their hearts. This young Master Lin was really a good person. On the other hand, Qin Feiyong was arrogant and ugly. He was simply a villain who had gained power. Qin Feiyong's eyes lit up. As a prince of the Grand Qin Empire, what sort of person had he not seen? How could he not understand the meaning behind Lin Bailey's words? "Since you want to play, I'll play with you to the end." Qin Feiyong sneered secretly. He looked at Lin Bailey and nodded. "You're right. They work so hard for your Lin family, but their monthly salary is so little. It's not easy. Why don't you give them a raise?" The two servants looked at each other and felt wronged in their hearts. Qin Feiyong's words were very reasonable. For the Lin family, they did their best. In the eyes of others, they were purely watchdogs. However, his monthly salary was only 5 body-tempering pills. Their efforts and gains were not proportional at all. The most hateful thing was that the damned butler always found excuses to deduct their salary. The maximum number of body-tempering pills they could get every month was 3. The Lin family did not treat them as human beings at all. Hearing this, Lin Bailey's body stiffened slightly, and the smile on his face became a little unnatural. He thought that Qin Feiyong was just a man with brawn and a simple mind, but he did not expect that. Not only was this man not stupid, he even checkmated him. Raise their salary? How could he do such a stupid thing? What's wrong? Young Master Lin, are you not willing to give them a raise? If that's the case, then I really feel sorry for them. Qin Feiyong shook his head and sighed. Lin Bailey's face twitched. He felt as if he had fallen into a trap and been schemed by Qin Feiyong. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with a touch of ridicule. He continued, Young Master Lin, why don't you say something? Could it be that you can't make this decision? If that's the case, just pretend that I didn't say anything. Lin Bailey's face twitched even more. His heart was filled with regret. If he had known that this person was so difficult to deal with, he would not have provoked him. Wasn't this digging a hole for himself to jump into? Especially when he looked at Qin Feiyong's eyes, which seemed to be playful, he felt an unknown anger in his heart. Who said that I can't make this decision? From now on, the salary of the Lin family's servants will be doubled. He gritted his teeth and announced this order. Thank you, young Master Lin. The two servants immediately knelt on the ground and shed tears of gratitude. It was actually doubled. In other words, their monthly salary would be 10 body-tempering pills. This was really good news. At the same time, this also meant that Lin Bailey was completely defeated in this secret battle. Qin Feiyong, you bastard, don't be complacent, the good show is yet to come. Lin Bailey secretly sneered, but on the surface he was amiable. He led Qin Feiyong to the Lin family's living room. The two servants also looked at Qin Feiyong gratefully. Moreover, this matter spread from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, and soon it spread like crazy in the Lin family. It also spread to the ears of the Lin family's head. There are hundreds of servants in the Lin family. If everyone's salary is doubled, how many body-tempering pills will we lose every month? This is simply nonsense. The Lin family's head was furious. He said to the housekeeper next to him, You go and call Bailey here. I want to ask him why he made this decision. Lin Yong hesitated and said in a low voice, Master, young Master Bailey is entertaining guests. I think it's inappropriate to call him here now. What's more, young Master Bailey was sent by the main house. We're just a small branch, we can't afford to offend him. The Lin family's head said, Then I have to ask clearly. We can't lose so many body-tempering pills for no reason. Lin Yong thought it was reasonable. He nodded and said, Okay, I'll go and find him. But you must calm down. After all, Yi's future depends on the main house. I understand. The Lin family's head nodded. He took a deep breath and forcibly suppressed his anger. Lin Yong also turned and quickly left. At the same time, in one of the corridors, Qin Feiyong looked around curiously. Lin Bailey frowned and urged, Brother Qin, these flowers and plants are all over the mountain. What's there to see? Let's go. The third palace master is still waiting for us. Since entering the Lin family's house, Qin Feiyong was not in a hurry to go to the guest hall. He walked and stopped like a country bumpkin who had never seen the world. He looked around, which made Lin Bailey very angry. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, Although these flowers and plants aren't rare and are very ordinary, every time I see them, I feel that they're very stunning. Looking at them is a kind of enjoyment. A profligate son of rich parents like you wouldn't understand. Lin Bailey furrowed his brows, his eyes blazing with anger. He was very sensitive to the words playboy. Qin Feiyong said, Okay, I'll slowly appreciate it when I have time. Let's go to the guest hall. Humph. Lin Bailey snorted and walked in front without saying a word. You want to play tricks with me? You're still too inexperienced. Qin Feiyong followed behind unhurriedly. Looking at Lin Bailey's back, his eyes were full of disdain. In the guest hall, the decoration was very luxurious. It was dazzling with gold and jade, richly ornamented. There were all kinds of top-grade gems and jade. Every place was filled with a kind of luxurious aura. The third palace master, the martial arts hall master, the clan head of the Zhao family, and a dignified and beautiful woman were sitting at the tea table, drinking tea and chatting. Behind them there were 4 young boys and girls. These 4 people were about 15 or 16 years old. The boys were handsome, and the girls were young and beautiful. All of them had an extraordinary temperament. Everyone, I'm really sorry to have made you wait for so long. Lin Bailey laughed and strode into the guest hall. He was elegant and polite, which made the third palace master and the others admire him. As for Qin Feiyang, after entering the guest hall, he just took a quick glance and sat alone at the side. He did not talk to anyone, which made him seem out of place. The beautiful woman smiled and said, "Bailey, I didn't expect you to be so nice to your servants." Lin Bailey was puzzled. The beautiful woman said, "We just heard that you increased the servant's salary. We all admire your character and style." Lin Bailey laughed and said, "In my eyes they are not servants but my family. Of course I can't treat them badly." He said it in a dignified manner, but in fact he was very angry. This time, Lin Yong walked into the guest hall and greeted everyone politely. He walked to Lin Bailey and whispered a few words in his ear. Lin Bailey frowned slightly, got up and said with a smile, "Everyone, I have some personal matters to deal with. You can do whatever you want. Don't be polite." The beautiful woman and the others nodded. After Lin Bailey and the housekeeper left, the beautiful woman looked at Qin Feiyang and said with a chuckle, "Little guy, I didn't expect you to hide so deeply. If it wasn't for what happened this morning, I'm afraid we wouldn't have known that you are a martial arts genius." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "How can this junior's ability enter the pavilion master's eyes?" This beautiful woman was called Luo Qianxue. She was the pavilion master of the Precious Treasure Pavilion. Although she was a woman, her methods and strength were not inferior to the third hall master and the martial arts hall master. Luo Qianxue shook her head and smiled. "Even the martial arts hall and the pill hall want you. Don't be modest." The martial arts hall master followed and said, "Qin Feiyang, can you reconsider?" The third hall master immediately took out his trump card and said temptingly, "If you join the pill hall, I guarantee that your future will be limitless." However, Qin Feiyang only smiled and let it go. There was even a trace of disdain. Seeing Qin Feiyang's attitude, the third hall master and the martial arts hall master were not unhappy. However, the two young men behind them couldn't help but frown. They felt that this Qin Feiyang seemed to be too arrogant. As for the Zhao family's clan master, Luo Qianxue, and the two young girls behind them, their eyes flashed with a trace of strange light. Chapter 29. The atmosphere in the living room became a little depressing. Qin Feiyang felt a little uncomfortable. He stood up from the chair, cupped his fist and said, "For seniors, I'm going out for a stroll." "Qin Feiyang, don't run around. You should know very well where you should go and where you shouldn't go in this Lin family." The two teenagers spoke one after another with a meaningful meaning. "Thank you for reminding me." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, turned around, walked out of the living room, and wandered aimlessly in the Lin family. The servants he met along the way were grateful to him, but there were not many people who really stepped forward and apologized, because they had already seen that young Master Bailey was not as kind to Qin Feiyang as he appeared to be on the surface. As the servants of the Lin family, they had to recognize the situation and stand on the side that was beneficial to them. Qin Feiyang was born in the royal family. He had been facing intrigue since he was a child. He naturally knew the mentality of these people very well, so he didn't care. On the contrary, he had some sympathy for these servants. Unconsciously, he walked into a secluded path. The flower beds on both sides were blooming, competing for beauty. The strong fragrance of flowers was intoxicating. But he stopped and raised his head to look ahead. At the end of the path, there was an exquisite attic. A clear stream lay across the front of the attic, winding around. In the water, beautiful fishes were swimming in groups and swimming happily. The environment in that place was elegant, full of tranquility and peace. "Why did I come here subconsciously?" Qin Feiyang whispered. This was the backyard of the Lin family. That attic was Lin Yi's residence. In the past he had come here once, so he was no stranger to this place. "I knew that some people would not change. They really came to Lin Yi. They are really shameless." "Qin Feiyang, Lin Yi is not married yet. You, a man, broke into her residence without permission. What is your intention?" At this moment, The sarcastic words of the two men came from behind. Qin Feiyong turned around and frowned. The people who came were the two youths from the Pill Hall and the Martial Hall. The two of them walked towards him side by side, their eyes filled with amusement. Haven't the Pill Hall and the Martial Arts Hall always been at odds? But why are you guys so harmonious now? Could it be that the two of you have some sort of special fetish? For example, being gay? Qin Feiyong looked at the two of them mockingly. I dare you to say that again. Their faces instantly darkened, and their eyes flickered with coldness. Don't worry, I won't despise you. Instead, I'll sincerely give you my blessings. After all, you're in true love. Qin Feiyong strode to their side and grinned. Then he walked back the way he came without looking back. True love? Blessing. The two youths were stunned when they heard this. When they finally regained their senses, the two of them glanced at one another for a moment before turning their heads to the side. Their stomachs churned as they retched non-stop. In his heart he was almost driven mad. This damned bastard, he's too much. Qin Feiyong, stop right there. If you don't make it clear, don't even think about leaving today. The two of them suppressed their disgust and chased after Qin Feiyong angrily. Looking at the two of them, Qin Feiyong smiled and quickly returned to the living room. The two youths also chased after him, panting. Why don't you keep running? If I don't cripple you today, my surname isn't Liu. The two of them blocked Qin Feiyong from the front and the back, their faces filled with coldness. Huh. Luo Qianxue and the others were confused. Why did they become so angry after going out for a while? Qin Feiyong glanced at the two of them and turned to look at the martial arts hall master and the third hall master, who were suspicious. He said, "Are you going to let them do whatever they want here?" The two of them immediately stood up. What are you doing? This is the Lin clan. How dare you be so rude? Lu Yun, back off. The martial arts hall master shouted. Inchuan, you better behave yourself. The third hall master also shouted. Lu Yun looked at the martial arts hall master with grievance and said, Master, why are you blaming me? It was Qin Feiyong who started it. He said Inchuan and I have. Qin Feiyong casually sat on a chair at the side and said playfully, What do you mean? Why don't you say it directly so that everyone can be happy for you? Hearing this, the martial arts hall master and the others looked at Lu Yun and Inchuan curiously. But how could they have the nerve to say such things? The two of them lowered their heads and clenched their fists. They couldn't wait to skin Qin Feiyong alive. Do you want me to say it for you? Qin Feiyong laughed and said with a bright smile. Don't go too far. Qin Feiyong. Be careful of retribution. The two of them immediately glared at him. Luo Qianxue stood up to smooth things over and said with a smile, Okay, it shouldn't be a big deal. Let's each take a step back. Well, for the sake of the pavilion master, I won't argue with you. Qin Feiyong said magnanimously. What? You still won't argue with us? Lu Yun and Inchuan went crazy. Their lungs were about to explode. Can you not be so shameless? What's going on? Why are you all angry? The Lin family's patriarch, Lin family's butler, Lin Yi, and Lin Bailey walked into the living room one after another. Seeing the look of Lu Yun and Inchuan, there was a trace of confusion in their eyes. The third hall master smiled and said, Young people, there will always be friction. Don't worry about it. The Lin family's patriarch glanced at Qin Feiyong coldly and said with a smile, hurry up and greet the elders. Lin Yi bowed and said, Greetings to the three uncles and Aunt Luo. Please forgive me if I don't treat you well. Luo Qianxue smiled and said, You are the star today. Don't be so polite. Everyone, please take a seat. The Lin family's patriarch sat on the main seat and greeted with a smile. Lin Yi and Lin Bailey sat on the left and right sides of the Lin family's patriarch respectively. Lin Yi's outfit today was very eye-catching. She took off her usual clothes and wore a snow-white floor-length dress. Her originally beautiful face had become even more charming after careful makeup. Her hair fluttered with the wind, black and beautiful. Although she was not as valiant as before, she had the temperament of a lady from a respectable family. Her figure was also very exquisite. Since she came in, Lu Yun and Inchuan's eyes had never moved away from her. They looked obsessed. But Qin Feiyong just glanced at her indifferently, then lowered his head and drank tea. Lin Yi also glanced at him. Her eyes were also calm and unfamiliar. Lin Bailey got up and glanced at everyone in the hall. He focused on Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "First of all, on behalf of the Lin family, I would like to thank everyone for coming to Yi's 15th birthday today." Qin Feiyang frowned. Who is this person? How can he represent the Lin family? Originally, Uncle Lin planned to wait until Yi's coming-of-age ceremony to invite everyone. But tomorrow morning, Yi will go to Yen City with me. It will probably take a few years before she has a chance to come back. She may not even return to Iron Ox Town for the rest of her life. So I discussed with Uncle Lin and simply invited everyone to a banquet today to thank everyone for taking care of my Lin family over the years. Lin Bailey smiled. Yen City. The third palace master and the others looked at each other with a trace of surprise in their eyes. Luo Qianxue asked, "Bailey, are you from the Lin family of Yen City?" "Yes." Lin Bailey nodded. "I see." Several people suddenly realized. As several giants of Iron Ox Town, their knowledge was naturally far beyond others. They were no stranger to the Lin family of Yen City. The Lin family of Yen City not only had a strong foundation, but also had a marriage alliance with the royal family for generations. With the royal family backing them, the Lin family was very powerful in Yen City. Other families did not dare to compete with them, and Lin Bailey's appearance here, without a doubt, meant that the Lin family of Iron Ox Town was a branch of the Lin family of Yen City. Lin Bailey smiled again and said, "By the way, let me tell you a piece of good news. When Yi turns 16, she will marry into the royal family. At that time, your Iron Ox Town will also benefit from it." Qin Feiyang suddenly raised his head and looked at Lin Bailey. Seeing Qin Feiyang looking at him, Lin Bailey's smile became brighter. There was also a trace of obvious disdain in his eyes. Qin Feiyang clearly caught it. He took a deep breath, put down the teacup and said indifferently, "So you invited me here today to show off how powerful your Lin family is. But you may be disappointed. I really don't feel that your Lin family is strong in any way." As soon as these words came out, everyone was silent. No one expected Qin Feiyang to say such disdainful words in front of the Lin family. He really did not give them any face. The Lin family master, Lin Bailey, and butler Lin Yang's faces were gloomy. Lin Yi lowered her head and was silent. No one knew what she was thinking. Qin Feiyang stood up and turned to look at Lin Yi. His face was full of disappointment. "Do you know? Since you said that you want to sever ties with me, I have been thinking. Do you have any difficulties? Or were you forced by your father? I was even thinking about how I can help you. Until now, I finally understand that it was just my wishful thinking. It turns out that you are the same as your father. You think that I like you, and you are afraid that I will pester you and hinder you from marrying into the royal family. You even don't hesitate to frame me and threaten me with your weakness. You are really scheming. To be honest, I have always regarded you as my best friend. I am happy for you to marry into the royal family, so there is no need to do this at all. If you are still worried, I will swear in public now that I, Qin Feiyang, and you, Lin Yi, will sever ties with each other and never contact each other again. This thing, I was still hesitating whether to give it to you or not. But now it suits you very well. Please accept it." Qin Feiyang took out the jade bracelet and threw it at Lin Yi's feet. Among the people present, which one of them was not a person of status? At a glance, it was obvious that this was a street stall product. Using a street stall product as a birthday gift? Wasn't this clearly humiliating Lin Yi and embarrassing the Lin family? The Lin family master clenched his hands with murderous intent in his eyes. If it weren't for the presence of others, he would immediately take action and kill Qin Feiyang. What kind of person deserves what kind of jewelry? You, Lin Yi, only deserve this cheap street stall product. Don't give it to me. I know where to go. Chapter 30. Regarding Lin Yi, he was extremely disappointed. Royal family? In Qin Feiyang's eyes, it was a joke. However, today, he was destined not to walk out of the Lin family easily. His last sentence made the Lin family's patriarch completely furious. "Pa!" He slapped the armrest of the chair, got up suddenly and yelled, "Lin Yong, stop him!" Crack! The entire chair was torn apart on the spot. Lin Yong had long wanted to teach Qin Feiyang a lesson. He heard about it. Without saying a word, He took a big stride and stood in front of the door. He looked at Qin Feiyong coldly and said, "If you want to leave, you can, but you have to kneel down and apologize to Miss." "Kowtow and apologize?" Qin Feiyong stopped, turned his head, and looked at Lin Yi. He said faintly, "Is she worthy? I'm giving you face, but you don't want it." Lin Yong's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He slapped at Qin Feiyong. True energy gushed out from his palm. He was a one-star martial master. Humph! Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. He took a strange step and went behind Lin Yong like lightning. "Old thing, how dare you make a move in front of me?" His eyes flashed coldly, and he punched Lin Yong's back. Bang! Lin Yong was blasted out on the spot and rolled in front of the Lin family's patriarch. He then spat out a mouthful of blood. How can he be so fast? In the blink of an eye, he actually ran behind Lin Yong. Lu Yun, Inchuan, and the two girls were shocked. Lin Bailey said, "It's an auxiliary martial technique." The so-called auxiliary martial technique was actually a footwork martial technique. It could double a person's speed. The auxiliary martial technique was also divided into 4 grades: upper, middle, lower, and perfect. Low-grade auxiliary martial technique doubled the speed, and so on. The auxiliary martial technique Qin Feiyong just used was called smoke gathering steps. It was a perfect martial technique. It could increase the speed by 4 times on the original basis. Auxiliary martial technique is very rare. Even my martial arts hall doesn't have it. How can he have it? My pill hall doesn't have it either. This is unbelievable. The third hall master and the martial arts hall master looked at each other and seemed to have underestimated this youth. What a Qin Feiyong. Everyone has been deceived by him for the past 5 years. The Zhao clan's patriarch muttered while his eyes were suffused with strands of an indescribable bright light. The Lin family head's heart was filled with an intense killing intent. The stronger the strength Qin Feiyong displayed, the greater the threat he posed to him. Whoosh! He suddenly leaped forward, covered his fist with true qi, and punched towards Qin Feiyong's head. This kid must be killed in the cradle. Father, stop. At this moment, Lin Yi finally couldn't sit still. She got up and shouted anxiously. However, the Lin family head's killing intent was aroused. How could he listen to that? "Are you that anxious to kill me?" Qin Feiyong laughed mockingly. He used the shifting smoke steps and easily dodged the attack. Howling Tiger Fist. After the Lin family head landed, he didn't say a word. He took another step forward and punched out angrily. "I didn't want you to embarrass yourself in public, but you can only blame yourself for being too insensible." Rushing Thunder Kill Fist. Qin Feiyong's face instantly turned cold. His aura was surging all over his body. With a violent airflow, he punched out fiercely. Boom! Immediately, the Lin family had also followed in Lin Yong's footsteps. He flew out, smashing tables, chairs, and coffee tables. He rolled on the ground in a sorry state, and blood spurted out from his mouth. "Father!" Lin Yi hurried forward, extremely worried. "How is this possible? I'm a 2-star martial master. Howling Tiger Fist is also a middle-grade martial art. How can I lose to him?" The Lin family head muttered to himself. His face was full of disbelief. Is this a dream? Seeing this, Lin Yi was heartbroken. She looked up at Qin Feiyong angrily and shouted, "He is also my father. How can you be so heavy-handed? Are you blaming me?" Qin Feiyong was so angry that he laughed. "You have to figure out who made the first move? Who made the first move to kill him? Let me tell you, you are not qualified to blame me. If it weren't for your sake, your father and Lin Yong would have gone to hell now. Do you understand?" Qin Feiyong's gaze at this moment was piercing cold. Lin Yi didn't dare to look directly at him. His tone is too arrogant. Lu Yun frowned. The martial arts hall master said in a deep voice, "He is not arrogant. He really has this ability because the Rushing Thunder Kill Fist is a perfect martial art. A perfect martial art can increase the strength of 4 brute elephants. In addition to his own strength, he has the strength of 5 brute elephants. In other words, Qin Feiyong's current strength is enough to be on par with a 5-star martial master. Although the Lin family head is a 2-star martial master, his martial art is only a middle-grade martial art. It can only increase the strength of 2 brute elephants. In addition to his own strength, he has the strength of 4 brute elephants. It's easy for Qin Feiyong to kill him, the third hall master said. Hearing these words, Lu Yun and Yin Chuan were scared. Fortunately, they didn't really do it earlier. Otherwise, they would be beaten black and blue by Qin Feiyong. You actually have a perfect martial art. Qin Feiyong, I did hurt you, but what about you? Have you ever thought that you have deceived me for 5 years? You dare to say that you treat me as your best friend. I, Lin Yi, really can't afford to have a friend like you. Get out of the Lin family immediately and never appear again. Get out! Lin Yi roared, revealing endless sadness and desolation. Pathetic woman. Qin Feiyong shook his head and turned to leave. Did I let you go? Lin Bailey, who hadn't spoken for a long time, finally stood up at this time. What do you want? Qin Feiyong asked without looking back. His eyes burst with amazing light. The Lin family is not a place where you can come and go as you please. What's more, you have injured Uncle Lin and the butler. If I let you leave like this, where will my Lin family's face be in the future? Lin Bailey stretched his muscles and bones while walking toward Qin Feiyong. There was a trace of deep disdain at the corner of his mouth. He didn't make a move just now and let Qin Feiyong seriously injure the Lin family's patriarch. It was actually intentional. He wanted to take this opportunity to make Qin Feiyong and Lin Yi fall out completely. Now, the goal was achieved. It was time to clean up the mess. Lin Yi would definitely be grateful to him if he made a move at this time. However, Lin Yi didn't seem to appreciate it. She reached out and stopped Lin Bailey. Brother Bailey, let him leave. Why? Lin Bailey stopped and frowned immediately. Lin Yi said, today is my birthday. I don't want to see anyone bleed again, let alone kill someone. Okay, I'll listen to you. Lin Bailey nodded. Anyway, the goal had been achieved. It didn't matter whether he killed this person or not. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said faintly, don't blame me for talking too much. If you don't restrain yourself and continue to be so arrogant, you will die because of this sooner or later. Go quickly. I hope that you can be more sensible the next time we meet. Please look at your own virtue before preaching to others. As for the next meeting, it may not be as simple as today. Qin Feiyong sneered. He said those words with deep meaning. Then he left without looking back. You really won't shed tears until you enter the coffin. Arrogant, right? Wait for it. I will let you go to hell tonight, Lin Bailey muttered. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. In fact, these things that just happened were not in his plan. His real plan was to let Qin Feiyong win or lose. He could even take Qin Feiyong's life. Originally, seeing that Qin Feiyong and Lin Yi had completely broken up, he did not intend to implement this plan. However, Qin Feiyong's words before leaving made him change his mind. This person must be eliminated. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. Lin Bailey took out 2 healing pills and gave them to the Lin family master and Lin Yong. Lin Yong said gratefully, young Master Bailey, thank you. We are a family. Don't be so polite. Lin Bailey smiled. Seeing that the Lin family master was still in a daze, his eyes flickered slightly. He whispered a few words in the Lin family master's ear. No one knew what he said, but the Lin family master immediately became energetic. The Lin family master got up and looked at the third palace master and others with an apologetic face. He cupped his fist and said, I'm sorry that a good banquet turned out like this. It's okay. Luo Qianxue waved her hand and smiled. The Lin family master ordered, Butler, quickly ask someone to clean up here. Yes. The butler immediately took care of it. In less than 100 breaths, the hall was cleaned. The chairs and coffee tables were also replaced. It was worth mentioning. During this period, Lin Bailey left for a while. Also, Lin Yi also put the jade bracelet given by Qin Feiyong into the Qiankuan pouch without anyone noticing. After everything was done, the Lin family master greeted everyone, please sit down. Butler, quickly ask someone to serve tea. The butler ordered, and several maids filed in. Everyone also chatted and laughed. However, Lin Yi had been silent all the time, looking a little depressed. About 100 breaths passed. Suddenly, Lin Yi screamed and fell on the chair. Her face was pale, and a trace of black blood overflowed from the corner of her mouth. What's going on? Seeing this, the people in the hall immediately swarmed over. Lin Bailey checked a little and said in shock and anger, "Uncle Lin, E is poisoned." "What?" The Lin family master was furious. "Family master, we didn't poison her." Several maids immediately knelt on the ground in panic. "Bailey, quickly give E the detoxification pill." The Lin family master ordered, grabbed Lin Yi's teacup, handed it to Lin Yong, and said in a deep voice, "Go and verify it immediately to see if it is poisonous." While speaking, he gave Lin Yong a look. "Yes." Lin Yong nodded, strode out of the living room, found a hidden place and smashed the teacup directly. The rest of the tea splashed out, splashing on the grass and flowers. The flowers began to wither immediately. The grass also withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was obvious. The tea in this teacup was poisoned. "Qin Feiyang, just you wait. Tonight is the day you die." He sneered and quickly returned to the living room. After Lin Bailey gave Lin Yi the detoxification pill, her pale face gradually began to improve. After Lin Yong returned, the Lin family master hurriedly asked, "Butler, how is it?" "It's poisonous." Lin Yong nodded. The Lin family master was furious. He looked at the maids and shouted, "You dare to say that you didn't poison her? Tell me, who is it?" Lin Bailey said, "Uncle Lin, we drank the tea from the same teapot as E. But none of us were poisoned. Only E was poisoned. There is only one explanation. The person who poisoned her is the maid who poured the tea for E." "Family master, young Master Bailey, Xiaohong didn't poison her." A maid crawled to the front of the two and shook her head desperately. It was her who had been pouring tea for Lin Yi just now. Lin Yong's eyes were cold and he shouted, "Tell me the truth immediately. Otherwise, not only will you die, but your family will also die miserably." Chapter 31. Qin Feiyang didn't know anything about what happened in the Lin family. Right now, he was looking for Uncle Yuan everywhere. After leaving the Lin family, he rushed to the forest that separated from Uncle Yuan. But in the end, not only did he not see Uncle Yuan, he even shouted for a long time, but he did not get a response from Uncle Yuan. Uncle Yuan was a war emperor. He did not believe that anyone could hurt him. Thus, he hurriedly ran towards the lake. Uncle Yuan should be waiting for him at the lake. However, when he arrived at the lakeside and looked around, he still couldn't find Uncle Yuan. "Uncle Yuan, where are you? Answer me quickly." He stood on a large rock by the lake and shouted with all his strength. His expression was extremely anxious. However, in this silent night sky, other than his shouts echoing, there was no other sound. "Uncle Yuan, where are you?" Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel a strong sense of uneasiness in his heart. Could it be that something really happened to Uncle Yuan? "Uncle Yuan." Suddenly, his body shook, and a trace of joy appeared in his eyes as he turned around to look. At the entrance, a cluster of flames appeared. Qin Feiyang thought it was Uncle Yuan and was about to run over, but a second cluster of flames suddenly appeared. Following closely, the third cluster appeared. The fourth cluster appeared. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel disappointed. With so many flames appearing, it was obviously not Uncle Yuan. He looked over. Turned out that they were torches. Under the illumination of the flames, he could vaguely see a blurry figure. Why would someone come here? Qin Feiyang frowned. And those people seemed to have a target and were running towards him. It's them. As the distance got closer and closer, Qin Feiyang finally saw the true faces of those people. The leader was Lin Bailey, the Lin family's patriarch Lin Yong. Lin Yong was also holding a servant girl. This servant girl was none other than Xiaohong. Behind them were the third hall master, the martial arts hall master Luo Qianxue, the Zhao family's patriarch Lu Yun Yinchuan, and the two girls. Around them, there were more than a dozen people from the Lin family holding torches and looking around, as if they were looking for something. Why are they all here? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. He had a nagging feeling that some of the visitors had ill intentions. Qin Feiyang is over there. Lu Yun suddenly saw Qin Feiyang and immediately shouted. Immediately, everyone rushed towards Qin Feiyang aggressively. Everyone's face was filled with intense hatred. The disgust in his eyes was undisguised. Especially the members of the Lin family. Their ferocious eyes looked as if they wanted to tear Qin Feiyong into pieces. What do you mean? Qin Feiyong's eyes were gloomy. He would be an idiot if he still couldn't tell the purpose of these people's visit. Qin Feiyong, I really misjudged you. I thought you were a man, but I didn't expect you to want to poison me. Do you still have any humanity? Qin Feiyong, your heart is as venomous as a snake's. Scum beast, even if you are cut into pieces, your death will not be regretted. The dozen or so people of the Lin clan hurled a torrent of abuse at Qin Feiyong, their spittle flying everywhere. Poisony? Qin Feiyong frowned. Lin Yong shouted, the evidence is here, do you still want to quibble? Xiao Hong, now tell everyone the process of him instigating you to poison me. Let everyone see his true colors. Qin Feiyong looked at the maid. Xiao Hong also raised her head to look at Qin Feiyong, but hurriedly lowered her head, not daring to look directly at Qin Feiyong's eyes. Speak quickly, Lin Yong shouted. Xiao Hong's body trembled, and she hurriedly said, at night, Qin Feiyong came to me and asked me to poison Mississippi. He also threatened me that if I didn't do it, he would kill my family. He also said. Lin Yong said, what else did he say? Xiao Hong said, he also said that if he, Qin Feiyong, couldn't get the woman, no one else could. The Lin family head said angrily, Qin Feiyong, what else do you have to say now? Lin Bailey said, earlier, you swore in front of everyone that you only treated Yi as a good friend, but secretly went to poison Yi. Qin Feiyong, I didn't expect you to be such a hypocrite. The third hall master sighed and said, Qin Feiyong, you really went too far this time. The martial arts hall master, Luo Qianxue, and the Zhao family's clan had also felt pity. Everyone, this person is narrow-minded and inhumane. If we don't get rid of him as soon as possible, who knows how many people in our Iron Ox town will die in his hands in the future. I suggest that we take advantage of Qin Yuan's absence to quickly execute him on the spot. The Lin family head looked at the third hall master and the others with murderous intent in his eyes. After hesitating for a while, the others nodded in agreement. Although Qin Feiyong was a promising talent, he was too inhumane and couldn't be left alive. Seeing that the others agreed, the Lin family head was overjoyed. He turned to Lin Bailey and nodded. Lin Bailey stepped forward and said, Qin Feiyong, I didn't want to kill you at first, but I have no choice. In the face of righteousness, I can only send you to hell. But don't worry, I will leave your corpse intact. Haha. Qin Feiyong glanced at the people in front of him and suddenly laughed out loud. He finally understood. All of this was an elaborate plot by the Lin family head and Lin Bailey to get rid of him. Lin Bailey frowned and shook his head. Not only do you not repent, but you also mock everyone. You are really hopeless. Qin Feiyong stopped laughing and lowered his head to look at the Lin family's patriarch. He said, I really admire you. You actually poisoned your own daughter to frame me. Could it be that you're not afraid of accidentally poisoning her to death? The Lin family head was so angry that he laughed. He shouted, nonsense. Bailey, don't talk nonsense with him. Kill him quickly, in case Qin Yuan comes back to protect him. Okay. Lin Bailey nodded and jumped up, his true qi gushing out. Returning palm. He roared and slammed his palm towards Qin Feiyong with a terrifying gust of wind. Thunder-killing fist. Qin Feiyong threw a punch. The moment his fist collided with the palm, the big rock under his feet was shattered into pieces with a loud bang. The power of Lin Bailey's palm was far greater than his. Bang! Qin Feiyong was sent flying by the palm and smashed into the rocks beside the lake. He spat out blood. Returning palm was also a perfect martial skill. Yen City's Lin family was indeed not a small family in Iron Ox Town. Lin Bailey was a 3-star martial master. With the help of a perfect martial skill, he had the strength of 7 barbarian elephants. He had the strength of 2 barbarian elephants more than him, but it was not that he had no chance of winning. I, Qin Feiyong, am not someone you can kill just because you want to. Qin Feiyong suddenly stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and slammed his palm on a huge rock beside him. The huge rock was as big as a dustpan. With an ear-piercing whistling sound, it broke through the air like lightning and crashed into Lin Bailey. At the same time, Qin Feiyong took a big step and followed behind the huge rock. He reached into his chest and pulled out the Chong Shui. In Iron Ox Town you are still considered a talent. But in Yen City, you are only a second-rate character at most. Now I will let you know what a real genius is. Lin Bailey's eyes were full of contempt. He stretched out his arm and clenched his 5 fingers, easily crushing the flying huge rock. This place was suddenly filled with gravel. The two met face to face. At this moment, the murderous intent in Lin Bailey's eyes was completely undisguised. Return to essence, palm. He slammed his palm forward. The palm wind was like thunder, rolling up the dust in the air. The powerful aura made the Lin clan head and the others suddenly change color, and they quickly retreated. Only the martial arts hall, the third hall master, and Luo Qianxue did not move at all. Their eyes were fixed on Qin Feiyang, with a trace of doubt on their faces. Why did Qin Feiyang put his hand in his chest? It seemed that Qin Feiyang was about to be killed by Lin Bailey's palm. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang tilted his body to the side, barely dodging that palm strike. At the same time, the big hand in his chest was like a poisonous snake that bared its fangs. It stretched out like lightning and swung at Lin Bailey's arm. Puff! In a flash, blood gushed out. Ah! In the next moment, Lin Bailey began to scream hysterically. In that instant, his face was filled with fear that couldn't be erased. As he screamed, he retreated rapidly. Want to run? Do you think I'll give you the chance? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and quickly pounced on him. The bloodstained Chang Shui in his hand was like a graceful swan in the night sky, stabbing at Lin Bailey's chest. What's going on? There was not a single person who wasn't bewildered. Bang! An arm fell to the ground, attracting everyone's attention. Then they looked at Lin Bailey's right shoulder. The arm was gone, and the bowl-sized wound was spurting out dazzling blood. Qin Feiyang actually cut off Lin Bailey's arm? Everyone was dumbfounded. It was hard to believe that such a terrifying scene was happening. Qin Feiyang, don't be stubborn. Stop it. When the third hall master noticed Lin Bailey's danger, he immediately shouted angrily. He landed beside Qin Feiyang and slammed his palm. Damn it! Qin Feiyang cursed. As expected, he gave up on killing Lin Bailey. He took a step forward and narrowly avoided the third hall master's palm. He was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. The third hall master was a 9-star martial master. Even if he didn't use any martial techniques, he wasn't someone he could defeat. If he didn't dodge in time, he would have been seriously injured and lying on the ground without any power to resist. The third hall master didn't continue to chase. He protected Lin Bailey behind him and looked at Qin Feiyang with a gloomy gaze. Phew! Qin Feiyang secretly exhaled. He looked at the third hall master coldly and said, Does the Pill Palace really want me to go against you? The third hall master said, Everyone has the right to kill an unpardonable criminal. If you surrender now, I promise to give you a quick death and won't let your corpse be exposed in the wilderness. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Then should I thank you? He can still smile in front of the third hall master? Lu Yun and Chuan, and the two girls felt that it was unbelievable. This person's character was really unpredictable. The third hall master said, No need to thank me. I only hope that you can be a kind child in your next life. Haha. Qin Feiyang laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. The third hall master's face sank. Chapter 32. The laughter reverberated in the night sky for a long time. It was full of arrogance and unruliness. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and looked at them one by one, as if he wanted to engrave everyone's faces in his mind. Finally, his eyes locked on the third hall master, the martial arts hall master, and Luo Qianxue. He said, Sooner or later, you will know who is the real villain. Roar! After he finished speaking, he bent over and crouched on the ground like a beast. Then he opened his mouth and let out a loud lion's roar. A terrifying sound wave suddenly rolled out in this place like a tide. A shocking scene appeared. Except for Luo Qianxue and the other two, everyone's ears were spurting blood. In their minds there was a rumbling sound. This was not an ordinary lion's roar. This was a martial technique. It was called the Mad Lion's Roar. And it was also a perfect martial technique. Ah! A cry of agony could be heard all of a sudden. A 1-star martial master of the Lin family held his head with both hands, and his face was distorted. He was hysterical. Blood spurted out from his ears. Seeing this, Luo Qianxue and the other two were in extreme disbelief. Killing martial technique, auxiliary martial technique, and sound wave martial technique. This guy not only had 3 martial techniques, but they were all perfect martial techniques. He was simply a little monster. The third hall master roared, "Stop him quickly, or everyone here will be shocked to death by his sound wave." The martial arts hall master and Luo Qianxue suddenly came back to their senses and hurriedly rushed towards Qin Feiyang. Howl! But at this moment, wolf howls suddenly sounded from behind. Luo Qianxue and the other two looked over, and their faces changed slightly. In the darkness of the night, there were pairs of green eyes that flickered with incomparable savagery. It was a pack of white wolves. They were quickly approaching here. White-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang's eyes became hot. He didn't expect that this guy would come to save him at the critical moment. This was a good opportunity. He stopped howling and suddenly rushed to the front of a girl. His big hand violently stretched out like an eagle's claw and grabbed the girl's white neck. Luo Qianxue's expression changed instantly. She shouted, "Qin Feiyang, put her down." In a flash, Qin Feiyang retreated to the back of the young girl. Chang Shue's sharpness was astonishing as it rested on the young girl's neck. Looking at Luo Qianxue, Qin Feiyang sneered, "If you want her to live, retreat immediately." "How dare you?" Luo Qianxue was furious. Qin Feiyang licked his lips and chuckled, "I even killed Lin Bailey, what more her? Don't test my patience. Qingzhu, don't be afraid. With mother here, Qin Feiyang won't dare to hurt you." Luo Qianxue looked at the young girl dotingly and comforted her. Then she shouted at the third palace master and the others, "Retreat." The third hall master and the martial arts hall master looked at each other helplessly and retreated 3 meters. However, the Lin family head and the others were deaf and couldn't hear what Luo Qianxue said. But looking at the situation, they knew what had happened. Lu Yun Yinchuan, the Zhao family's family head, and the young girl beside the Zhao family's family head immediately retreated to the side of Luo Qianxue and the others. However, the group of people from the Lin family didn't retreat. Instead, with Lin Yong as the leader, they closed in on Qin Feiyang step by step. The Lin family head stood in place and supported Lin Bailey, his eyes full of resentment. Especially Lin Bailey, who couldn't wait to crush Qin Feiyang into ashes. At this moment, Wolf King led the pack of wolves to the back of Qin Feiyang. They all stared at Lin Bailey and the others with murderous eyes. Qin Feiyang grinned and said, "White-eyed wolf, I didn't expect you to be so loyal. But this time your choice is very unwise. They are all people you can't afford to offend." "Ower," Wolf King growled, and a trace of disdain crawled up in his huge pupils. "You really have guts. But really, thank you." Qin Feiyang was very touched, and tears flowed down his face. Wolf King rolled his eyes and growled a few more times, as if to remind him that there were still strong enemies and not to mess around. "Don't worry, as long as this woman is in our hands, they won't dare to mess around." Qin Feiyang smiled confidently, turned to look at Luo Qianxue, and said with a smile, "Pavilion Master, am I right?" As he spoke, his arm shook slightly, and the sharp Chang Shui immediately cut a bloody mark on the girl's neck. "Qin Feiyang, what are you doing?" Luo Qianxue was extremely shocked and angry. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, don't be nervous, I just accidentally shook my hand." But after saying that, his face suddenly turned cold, and he said in a cold voice, "But if they don't retreat, it won't be as simple as shaking my hand. You'd better not hurt her again." Luo Qianxue looked coldly at Qin Feiyang, walked a few steps to Lin Bailey and the master of the Lin family, grabbed their clothes and threw them behind. That posture, that expression, it felt like she was throwing garbage. "Ah!" Lin Bailey and the master of the Lin family screamed, and they both fell to the ground 10 meters away, looking extremely embarrassed. "What a tough woman," Qin Feiyang muttered. Luo Qianxue walked towards Lin Yong and the others. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed coldly, and he shouted, "Wait! What do you want to do now?" Luo Qianxue frowned, and she was obviously starting to get impatient. "I changed my mind, I want to try and see if I can kill them." Qin Feiyang put his arm around the girl's waist, stepped on Luo Yen's steps, and like a human-shaped tyrannosaurus, he charged towards Lin Yong. "Kill!" Lin Yong roared, took out a black broadsword from his Qingkuan bag, and slashed towards Qin Feiyang. Seeing this, Luo Qianshua's heart almost jumped out, for fear of hurting the girl. You'd better not move, or your daughter will die even faster. Qin Feiyang looked coldly at Luo Qianshua, and the changshui in his hand blocked the attack, and the broadsword fiercely chopped down, making an ear-piercing sound of metal. However, sparks flew everywhere, and the broadsword that looked extremely sharp was actually cut in half. How is this possible? Lin Yong was shocked. Luo Qianshua was also stunned. That dagger, what material was it made of? How could it be so sharp? Just as Lin Yong was in a daze, Qin Feiyang with lightning speed stabbed the broadsword into his heart, and he screamed on the spot with eyes full of fear, and fell to the ground dead. It really can cut iron like mud. Qin Feiyang was extremely excited. Without any hesitation, he charged towards the other people of the Lin family. All the one-star martial masters of the Lin family came today. This time he wanted to kill them all. Clang! Those one-star martial masters also took out their weapons and fiercely chopped towards Qin Feiyang, all of them full of murderous intent. For a moment, in this place the weapons clanged, and the sharpness swept in all directions. True qi swept in all directions like a dragon. Although the Lin family had an absolute advantage in the number of one-star martial masters, in terms of weapons and martial techniques, Qin Feiyang completely crushed them. One by one, the weapons were continuously chopped off by the Chang Shui. Qin Feiyang with the shifting smoke steps was like a reaper, constantly harvesting lives. On his body, on his face, splattered with blood, his whole body was filled with murderous intent. Luo Qianshua and the others, seeing this scene, were all shocked. Was he still a teenager? Whether it was a meticulous mind or ruthless means, he was far superior to his peers. Even they were ashamed of their inferiority. Ruthless and cold. This Qin Feiyang, what kind of person was he? The head of the Lin family and Lin Bailey had a face of disbelief. So many one-star martial masters were actually no match for Qin Feiyang? Gradually, in their hearts a sense of panic emerged. The iron-blooded methods that Qin Feiyang displayed made them afraid. Even their bodies couldn't help but tremble. However, in the face of such a bloody lake, the girl in Qin Feiyang's arms didn't panic at all. She was very calm. She was also curiously sizing up Qin Feiyang. 100 breaths passed. The one-star martial masters of the Lin family, including a few servants, were all lying in a pool of blood. The pungent smell of blood enveloped the void. In fact, they had long been scared out of their wits, but Qin Feiyang's shifting smoke steps was 4 times faster than them. How could they escape? Whoosh! At the same time as the battle ended, Qin Feiyang quickly retreated to the front of Wolf King and let out a long breath. In the eyes of outsiders, this battle was very easy and simple, but in fact only he knew how dangerous it was. If he let loose, he had full confidence that he could kill all these people without any injuries. But he had to protect the girl. This girl was his only bargaining chip now. There must be no accidents. And those people of the Lin family were filled with fear. In order to survive, they didn't care about the girl's life or death. The girl was almost killed several times. It was Qin Feiyang who blocked the attack with his body and protected her safety. Therefore, on his back and right shoulder, there were a few deep wounds that exposed the bone, which were constantly bleeding. What a scary young man. The third hall master and the martial arts hall master looked at each other. There was a trace of fear in their eyes. If this young man didn't die prematurely, whether it was good or bad in the future, he would definitely achieve something. Luo Qianshua was also relieved. In the whole process of the battle, she was worried that her daughter would be in danger. Fortunately, what she was worried about didn't happen. She looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You will protect my daughter, which means you are very clear about your current situation. Let her go immediately, and I will let bygones be bygones." Qin Feiyang laughed and said, "Do you think I am a 3-year-old child?" Luo Qianshua's face was suddenly covered with a layer of frost. She said in a low voice, "What do you want?" Qin Feiyang said, "Stand here and don't move. After I make sure it is safe, I will let your daughter go. You have no other choice." "Okay." Luo Qianshua nodded. But she was still worried and said, "Qin Feiyang, don't say I didn't warn you in advance. Our treasure pavilion is in every corner of the county of Yan. Even the royal family doesn't dare to offend us. You better not hurt Qingzhu, or I will kill you even if you run to the end of the world. I don't need you to remind me, Qin Feiyong said indifferently, turned to Wolf King and smiled. Let's go. Oh woo. Wolf King growled, turned around and ran toward the exit with the pack of wolves. Qin Feiyong also knocked the girl out with one palm. He hugged the girl and said without looking back, Master Lin, don't think that you have a chance to soar just because you are related to the main family of the Yan city. Let me give you a piece of advice. You better keep a low profile. Otherwise, in the end it will be all for nothing. And Lin Bailey, if you are considered a genius, then in my opinion the Yan city is nothing. Go back to the Yan city quickly. Maybe there is a chance to reattach your broken arm. As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped forward and quickly disappeared into the night.